The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey!
What?
Let's go!
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
Ah!
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers,
You pig! Stop! Damn it!
be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life.
Sport!
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Coach 'em Up Thursday, February 1st. Rabbit. This sports program brought to you by Topgolf starts now.
Football
is a beautiful thing, and football has provided jobs to many. And we're not just talking about players and staff and front office and doctors and trainers and equipment managers, but obviously to those that have a aspiration to lead men and make the most out of a team and have an opportunity to chase a dynasty in a Lombardi forever. 2 new coaching hires have taken place since the last time we were live on air on this particular program. Both the Commanders and the Seahawks have found their new head coaches, and we'll talk about that today. We'll talk to Adam Schefter in about 5 minutes to see how this Commanders hiring of Dan Quinn, which got announced this morning, came to be. Mike Macdonald, Baltimore Ravens DC, is now with the Seattle Seahawks. We'll talk to him in about 4 minutes to see where he's at. Then we'll talk to Peyton Manning in about 20 minutes because he's coaching, obviously, down at the Pro Bowl. He also on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks. Right. Alongside a lot of people say Tom Brady was on Tuesday, Patrick Mahomes, who appeared yesterday, and hopefully we're able to get Big Joe Montana on tomorrow. So the day has obviously been absurd. We'll also have Sherrone Moore, new head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, joining us in the second hour. Should be a phenomenal day of conversation because it's not just them, it's not just me, it's also the Talks the Table at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. Conman, sweet shirt, almost a little, stoic shirt you got going on.
Yeah. I don't know if it's stoic. It seems as though they're at the end of a hunt, kind of like we're at the end of the NFL season. You could say a dog and a guy hunting, but no, feeling great. I had to do the J.J. Watt mile for the Burnley goal this morning, so that was a great morning up until about 3 minutes ago. Everything was going great, and then I shot a basketball and absolutely destroyed a glass frame over there. So there's glass everywhere on the court. Aside from that, I feel great.
You are known to be a little bit destructive every once in a while, but live by the sword, die by the sword. We've gotten a lot of great things with the way you go about doing life, and you'll never miss a shot again. We understand that with the basketball, and that dog will hunt on your chest, just like Jeff Hafley will hunt as the new defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. I think a lot of us, Ty Schmidt, whenever we heard that the Green Bay Packers were hiring the Boston College head coach, we said, oh, Boston College, real powerhouse.
Great football team.
That feels like a good play. But then you start doing a little bit of research, and it's like, oh, the Green Bay Packers weren't the only team that were hoping for Jeff Hafley to return to the NFL and join them. Then we heard clips of Richard Sherman back whenever Hafley was leading the San Francisco 49ers defense, and here's what Richard Sherman had to say about him.
Going back to Hafley, now you had a full season to work with him, get to know him, how he operates. What has impressed you about him?
His preparation is some of the best I've seen. I've had some great defensive back coaches, some great defensive coaches, defensive minds, and he's right up there. He's with his preparation and how he breaks down film and how easy and simple he makes the game plan sound and how easy he makes it for guys to understand. Like, he paints a very vivid picture of what you're going to see, and it's all about executing. Like I've tried to explain to you guys over and over, like they give us the plays a lot of times. A lot of times they prepare us really well.
I think the immediate reaction was to shit on the Hafley hiring, but then as we did more research, maybe the Packers got it right here. Ty, you pumped up about this?
Yes, I am excited. Like you said, when you first hear it, because I do remember when Jeff Hafley was the DC or co-DC of Ohio State in 2019, and they went from like 50th back up to number 1, but it was kind of out of nowhere because the Packers had interviewed, like 6 or 7 guys, and I think most fans were, you see what's going on in Baltimore. They brought in Baltimore's linebackers coach and D-backs coach, and it's like, well, their defense is so good. You maybe want a young guy, up-and-comer to kind of do this. But then, yeah, the more you look at it, it's like Hafley is a NFL guy. He's has plenty of experience in the league. You talk about the players who respect him, and I mean, I was talking to a source last night who basically said,
What does the source sound like?
He sounded a bit like this, kind of from the Boston area, who maybe knows Jeff Hafley pretty well. He's a good dude, schematically very respected. So, but he said that Hafley basically was vetted a couple years ago for a head coaching job in the NFL, and that he thinks if he wouldn't have went this year, then there's a chance that within the next couple years, like, he was going back to the NFL. And then you see his philosophy. He likes playing press coverage. He's very, very aggressive. And that's kind of been the knock on the Packers. At least it was with Joe Barry. All the time they're getting in these 3rd and longs, and then you got cornerbacks playing 15 yards off the ball and teams just marching right down the field. So it does kind of seem like a complete culture change. So easy to kind of shit on it right away because, yeah, he's the Boston College head coach, and it's like maybe there are other candidates in the NFL who are a little bit more established, but I'm very happy with this. Kind of off the beaten path, but I think it's good.
Good for you, owner of the Packers there. Maybe the defense will be able to hold up its end of the bargain with Jordan Love obviously being a phenomenal young talent who's going to lead them for the next few years. One half of the hammer, Dahn, Cowboys, Tone Diggs. Obviously, Steelers going through a lot of changes. Speaking of change, we don't have any change on this particular Thursday. We got the same legend joining us live on the stage. 36 years in coaching, 18 in college, 18 in the NFL. Coach Chuck Pagano.
Hey, Coach,
you're the people's coach. A lot of coaches getting hired right now. Dan Quinn to the Commanders, Mike Macdonald to the Seahawks, Hafley getting hired. Pretty much all positions have been filled. Is this kind of how you saw it going, or what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, once Baltimore lost, you knew Mike Macdonald's name was out there, right? So they came to see him, and as soon as he got on a plane to go to Seattle, you kind of put 2 and 2 together, saying this is just a
36 years old, Mike Macdonald.
Yeah, but phenomenal coach, I guess. I don't know of him from afar. Great X and O guy, great mind, great with the guys, great preparation, all the things that old boy was talking about with Hafley. But yeah, that's a good hire for them, and Quinn's proven he's done it. He gets another shot with the Commanders. I like that.
All right,
and I think Micah's probably excited, for Dan.
You think Micah Parsons is excited Dan Quinn's getting an opportunity with the Commanders?
Well, it'll be interesting. When's his contract up?
Well, I don't. There are a lot of conversations around Micah Parsons' most recent podcast. Joining us now is a man who probably has the inside scoop on how Dan Quinn ended up being with the Commanders, how Macdonald ended up being with Seattle, because last time he joined us, he actually said, a lot of people are saying Ben Johnson or Slowick are going to Commanders and Dan Quinn's going to Seattle. I would bet that one, if not both of those, is wrong. Now, if he knew something, he chose not to tell us.
Correct.
What's the deal? Ladies and gentlemen, senior NFL insider for ESPN, Adam Schefter. Schefty,
Gentlemen, what's going on?
We got Coach Sherrone Moore on in the second hour. Obviously, the new man in charge of Michigan. We can't wait to chat with him. We will certainly mention you and all the other prestigious alumni who are excited about where Michigan football is. But let's talk about Dan Quinn to the Commanders. We see that, Ben Johnson was supposed to go there. Slowick was supposed to go there. Is there another hiring happening right now? Was that him actually texting you in the middle of this entire thing?
Ooh.
We heard that there was supposed to be offensive guy potentially going to the Commanders, maybe a younger guy going to the Commanders. Now, defensive veteran coach hired by the Commanders. Vrabel, Belichick, defensive veteran coaches still on the market, will not have a head coaching this kind of coach at carousel. Why was Dan Quinn the guy over there, and how many people knew that was probably likely?
Well, there are a few things to consider here. I think first and foremost, they had the GM that they wanted. They got the guy that they wanted right away in Adam Peters, and they hired him out of the box. That was something that was important to them, and they got that done. And I think that they were of the mind that in a perfect world, they weren't going to be pairing a first-time GM with a first-time head coach. And so Dan Quinn checks the boxes there in that regard. The other thing is that when these organizations are going through this hiring process, they make a lot of calls and they get a lot of calls from a lot of different people, endorsing candidates, recommending guys. You got to get to know this guy. I'm telling you about this guy, vouching for this guy. I know that the Commanders felt like they got more calls and more texts unsolicited about Dan Quinn with positive messages from people than they got from any other candidate. And that's just the way that it kind of went. Now, that's not why he got the job, but it certainly was comforting and reassuring that they felt like they were getting a guy that is high energy, that's upbeat, that's positive, it probably doesn't hurt that you're weakening the team in the division, although I don't really believe that to be a driving force and a primary factor in why they hired Dan Quinn. They hired Dan Quinn because they believe in him as a leader. They believe in him as a man. They believe that other people are spot on in what they say about Dan Quinn, who had been a finalist for other head coaching jobs, and the board just didn't fall his way in recent years. But they feel like they've got a whole energetic, upbeat, positive guy stepping in to Washington to help try to lead that team into the future.
Before we go to Seattle and the Mike Macdonald hire, 36-year-old, good for him, good for the future of football. When new ownership happens, are you just automatically on the first flight there trying to get in with them so you can get information, or how does that whole process go? Legit, that's a real question there. How does that go? Because there might be some more new ownership, and it's like, obviously with the Washington football team, the Commanders, there's going to be a lot of movements. Obviously, GM, head coach, they're in D.C., they have a loyal fan base. It's like, how quickly do you feel like you get a good sense of what's going on in one of those places?
I mean, that's sort of the job. It's not like Josh Harris and I are having regular phone conversations or anything like that. But yeah, everybody's different. Some people want to talk to the media. Some people don't. Some people have other people speak with the media. It just, every situation is different, Pat. And I had the fortune of getting to sit down with Josh shortly after he was approved in Minneapolis last summer. Got to meet and talk with him. But, it's funny. Last year, I was thinking about this last night. I went to a luncheon at the Super Bowl last year on the Friday before the Super Bowl, and I was seated next to Josh Harris at the lunch. And he hadn't even bought the team yet. We talked a little bit, not a lot, but he and I sat together at this lunch and probably didn't spend as much time with him as I should have, but we did eat next to each other, and I could report back, he was very politely mannered, and he kept his mouth closed when he chewed his food.
That's a big deal. Very happy to hear that, obviously, because we've seen him do some interviews in the past. Doesn't feel like he's the most comfortable person speaking, but obviously a mastermind in the things that he does. Feels like he got the guy that he likes. I like that the Bumpus Hounds over there are also pumped, it sounds like, for the hot.
I can shut the door to my office. I don't know what the hell's going on, but we got something going on here.
Some delivery, I would assume, coming to the Schefter house. Let's talk about a delivery to Seattle. Mike Macdonald, 36-year-old head coach now, youngest head coach in the NFL, will be leading the Seattle Seahawks. I believe Schneider will be the one in charge there, leading the way with the way it has been reconstructed and who's in the power there. Chuck Pagano here has obviously been around a long time. He said as soon as he heard about Macdonald flying over to Seattle after the Ravens ended up losing, it was almost as if the writing was on the wall. We all thought Dan Quinn was going to be that guy. You thought no. When did Macdonald kind of sights start happening for the Seattle Seahawks in your eyes?
Well, I think you heard over the weekend, I started to hear that the Seahawks, led by their general manager, John Schneider, were willing to wait to talk to Mike Macdonald until after the Ravens season ended, meaning that if the Baltimore Ravens had won in the division or the conference championship round on Sunday against Kansas City, I think that they might have extended their search to after the Super Bowl, because that's how much they wanted to talk to, meet with, and were interested in Mike Macdonald. And so they met with him the day after the game. They fly him out the next day. They wasted no time. Washington also had a certain level of interest in Mike Macdonald, who was, by the way, a finalist in Tennessee, in Carolina. People in Atlanta were highly impressed with it. Like, the interesting thing is when you talk to these teams about these candidates, they really all loved Mike Macdonald. He stood out to them. And so it wasn't, when I said to you on Monday that I don't think the board is going to go the way that people are saying, because everybody was saying Ben Johnson in Washington and Dan Quinn in Seattle. And in my mind, I truly believed from what I knew that Mike Macdonald was getting one of these jobs. I didn't know which one.
Why didn't you tell us?
Come on.
Why didn't you tell us? That's the purpose.
I did tell you.
You didn't say, Mike Macdonald's going to get one of these jobs.
I said to you, everybody's expecting Dan Quinn in Seattle and Ben Johnson.
Yeah, I'm tired of having to read through the shit. Just, I'm a basic human. Just tell me what you know, Schefter. Like, for instance,
Pat,
what do you...
You're a very smart guy. You can add one in. I told you that at least one and maybe both, those are the exact words I used, were not going to happen.
The internet gods are telling you that you were wrong there. They were throttling you mid-yell. Your face was frozen there. But now that we have these two decided and there's no other head coaching gigs open, it's like Vrabes, Belichick, Ben Johnson, Slowick. We're all just assuming they're going to wait until next year. This is just a next year type thing, or what do you think happens with Vrabes and Bill?
Well, they're going to have to sit down and decide exactly how they want to approach the season. And everybody handles it differently. There are various ways to go about it. Both men are under contract, so it's not like there's any rush. Both men are well-known and have great reputations. People know that they're out there. I think if it were me, I think you want to stay involved in the game to some extent. You want to go around in training camps. You want to visit with some organizations that you know and respect, with people that will let you kind of watch and observe for 3, 4, 5 days at a time, maybe a week. Then maybe you want to work with one of those teams just as a consultant in an advisory role, breaking down film, making suggestions, whatever it may be. Because when the next cycle rolls around, and even before then, frankly, the names that are going to be on the tip of everybody's lips will be Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel, Pete Carroll. And by the way, anytime any of these franchises under high scrutiny with a lot of pressure, it go under some kind of losing streak.
Oh, yeah.
What's the first thing their fan bases are going to say? What are you going to be talking about on this show when a coach starts?
We could have hired Bill Belichick last year. We could have hired Bill. That's the name. That's going to now. Pete Carroll, obviously legend. Vrabes, legend. But you already got. I mean, I'm assuming you're around a lot more than me. I had a Jets fan call me this morning, FaceTime me, and go, "What are we doing? We're still just going to go into this year, and we're just going to let Bill Belichick and Vrabes just be nothing, and we're just going to roll with our guy." Now, I'm not saying
you know what may happen. What may happen next year, and I just thought of this. This is interesting.
Oh,
because these guys are out there. I'm just telling you, this is one option. We've seen in the past. This year, it seemed like there were the 3 openings, and everybody else waited till the end of the season, and then after, because Arthur Smith was fired on Sunday, Ron Rivera fired on Monday, Mike Vrabel was fired on Tuesday, Pete Carroll was Wednesday, Bill Belichick was Thursday. It was one a day. What you may see next year is this could impact how teams handle their coaching situations, so that I'm making this up, November 1st, when a team is 3-6, 3-7, and they've fallen out, and the owner knows he's making a change, at that point in time, you pull the plug mid-November so that you could get out there to start interviewing candidates so that you can get a jump on Mike Vrabel, Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, whoever it is that you want to go hire. If you remember, I believe that Mike Shanahan was hired by Washington in season. Before the season was over, they announced it, if my memory serves me correct, in December. And that may be the type of thing that we face the prospect of seeing this upcoming season, where coaches are let go in early to mid-November, as opposed to a team waiting around to the end of the season.
Hey, we appreciate the hell out of you, buddy. Good luck with everything. Host of the Adam Schefter podcast, senior NFL insider at ESPN, and a man who got it right, I guess, didn't really give it all.
Right.
No. Got it right. Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Schefter. Thank you. Okay, Chuck, let's talk about that. Like a mid-season potential opportunity. And obviously we bring up the Jets because of the amount of scrutiny that was on it, and they decided to run it back from last year, and all the dreams and hopes that they had last year. They're just going to hope that the same exact thing happens this year. And if it doesn't work out, their fans are going to get loud. Not that their fans haven't been loud, but it's going to get – they're not the only team, though, that potentially starts bad. And the fans knew it was maybe going to be a bad year. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's a lot of places. With Bill out there and Pete out there and Vrabes out there, and I think Carolina did this whenever Tepper took over the team with Ron Rivera, like fired him like week 6 or 7 or something. And they're like, hey, we're going to get a jump on next year. We're going to try to do that whole thing. What does that mean for the coaches you think that are currently in those positions? Like Robert Saleh knows. Like Bill Belichick's out there. Eberflus knows. Like, hey, Vrabes is still out there and our fans are potentially feeling that way. How do they keep that out, and what is the perspective you think they have to have?
You can't worry about that. We all know, you hear that cliche all the time, right? We know what we signed up for. They obviously know that they have to win. You know, it's bottom line business. You win, you get to keep your job. If you don't, you're out. So they know those guys are out there. My question is, look at the average age of the guys hired this year, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's going young. So Bill's going to be out a year. Pete's going to be out a year. Mm-hmm. And now they're going to be 73. And you know, Bill turned 72 in April, I believe. Yep. You know, he'll be – so – guys, ownership GM, they're going to say, are we going to go hire a 72, 73-year-old, and how long is he going to want to coach for? So the average age, to me, is like, that's the biggest thing, biggest question mark, and then they're not going to be a fit for maybe one.
So I thought potentially the Commanders were a fit for Bill Belichick, just strictly because all the people that would potentially get fired when Bill Belichick came in, which was a conversation piece, I guess, around the Atlanta Falcons. It's like, hey, when Bill comes in, he's taken over a lot of different jobs and he has his people that are in there. It's a 2 to 3 year run. Do we want to fire 30 people that we have hired and we know for a 2 to 3 year run with Bill Belichick? That's a lot of extra bullshit that comes alongside of hiring a coach. And obviously that comes as part of the job. You're making billions of dollars. There's a reason for that. It's not every day is going to be easy, especially if you want change, but that is certainly cause for concern for an owner, especially older owners. People are talking about that with the Cowboys. Like, you think Jerry Jones at his age wants to go through an entire new reset of his organization and culture? Nobody's really talking about that. The Commanders, they're already having the reset.
Yeah.
So, like, if you want to steal a 2 to 3 year window here to kind of launch your new legacy, your new ownership, that might be the spot where Bill Belichick comes in and is like, I got the GM area. I got like the scouting that we want. I got the head coaching. I know I got the people here for this. It's almost like a plug and place of a system, but them choosing to go a different direction. Still the oldest coach that was hired outside of Harbaugh this hiring cycle was Dan Quinn in his 50s or whatever. It's just like, I don't know who's going to hire 15 wins away.
Yes.
Bill Belichick.
It's right there.
15 wins away from being the all-time winningest coach in the history of the NFL. And what you just pointed out and what we've kind of talked about, it's like, it's seemingly not, it's not going to happen for Bill, which is bananas to think about at this age.
Yeah, definitely not this year, but like all the 2 to 3 year run stuff we're talking about with the, Belichick, and that makes the most sense with the Jets. And I hate that I'm saying it, but like if Rodgers is their plan and that's a 2 to 3 year run, why wouldn't you partner your 2 to 3 year run quarterback with a 2 to 3 year run with the greatest coach and GM of all time? Like, that's a match made in heaven, it feels like. And like, even if the Jets sneak into the playoffs at 9-8 or 10-7, and then they don't, go to the conference championship, it feels like even that would be grounds for them to say, all right, solid, Douglas. Like, we did what we could in these 2 years with Rodgers. Obviously, we only got one real year with him, but even that year didn't look great. Let's try the 2 to 3 year run with the 2 to 3 years left we have with Rodgers, with Bill Belichick, and if we win it in that span, awesome. If we don't, well, Rodgers,
we're going to have to reset again.
Yeah, Rodgers is gone anyway, so we have to start this thing over either way.
Joining us now is a man who probably has some opinions on all of it, a guy who has literally been in the NFL his entire life, not only because of his dad, but because of his incredible ability. He'll be coaching in the Pro Bowl this weekend against his brother on everybody's Mount Rushmore of NFL quarterbacks. I was lucky enough to be a teammate of his. Ladies and gentlemen, Peyton Manning. Hey, I heard you're enjoying the hell out of Disney World down there, buddy.
I just finished riding Tron. Probably not great for the neck, Pat, but actually me and the kids had a good time. I passed on Space Mountain because that's definitely bad for a guy who's had 4 neck surgeries. But yeah, right in the middle of Disney World right now. Having a great time here at the Pro Bowl in Orlando.
Hey, oldest ride, longest line, Space Mountain can be had a different time. I appreciate that you're joining us here. In the Pro Bowl being in Orlando, we talked about this, I think, with J.J. Watt yesterday, about how you used to be the mayor of the Pro Bowl in Hawaii, how there was conversations about the pool and how you would basically explain what the week was. It was a massive celebration. Feels like you're trying to keep the Pro Bowl relevant, trying to keep the Pro Bowl something special. How do you feel about it in Disney World, and how do you feel about the Pro Bowl as a whole and being back a part of it, Peyton?
I think the NFL did a great job calling an audible, if you will, Pat, going to the flag game. Vegas being the first year last year. Players had a lot of fun. The NFL has taken all the players' feedback from last year, how to make it even better. Orlando, they rented out Universal last night for all the players. All the players get to go to Disney World as well. So it's been a home run so far. We got great participation. Obviously, there's 14 guys that are in the Super Bowl from the Chiefs and the Niners that can't be here. And why is that? Because they had great players in that team, and that's why they made the Pro Bowl, but they can't be here. But all the guys are excited, and Eli and I, look, trying to make it fun. Do I want to beat Eli this year? Absolutely. I've been thinking about it all year since last year, so that is the number one goal. But I think the NFL's done a great job, and the participation has been great.
Eli said he's not doing shit this year. He said he said last year he got a lot of work put on his plate. This year he learns. He hired a couple people. He said, you guys do everything. I'm just a figurehead. Are you doing the same thing, or are you more hands-on this year?
Well, like I said, we did hire Wes Welker as offensive coordinator, so we want to bring that Mike McDaniel offense. Tua is our starting quarterback, so Tua will know the system. C.J. Stroud's our second quarterback. Slowick runs the same system as McDaniel, so there should be a smooth transition there. Gardner Minshew is just a gamer, right? So it doesn't matter what kind of offense he's in, he's just going to make it happen. So I feel good about our playbooks. I sent them all the players the playbooks right after they got beat in the playoffs to give them at least 3 weeks to study. So I expect everybody tomorrow's practice. And Ray Lewis is the D coordinator, so that's a good thing. And it's going to be great.
Hey, we talked about the infamous Peyton Manning voice memos yesterday. Has Wes Welker got any of those? And have you sent any to the boys, or do you plan on doing that night before game to really let them know what's at stake?
Yeah, I sent Wes a long voice memo kind of telling him.
Hey, what's the length of that? 18, 20, 30? What is the length of that actually?
Yeah, I think it was 15 minutes. It was short. Kind of what my thought process was last year, what the rules are, what the defenses are. In classic Welker form, he said, Peyton, okay, these are great plays, but y'all lost last year. They didn't work, so I'm bringing my own stuff. So I love the fight back from Welker. He was the same way as a teammate. And so, look, a lot of pressure's on him, right? He's got to come in here and do the job, but it'll be fun.
A lot of people that know you are saying that it's all fun and games with Wes Welker being the guy calling the plays until. Is there a little bit of, have you already thought about the moment? Hey, what's up? What's going on?
We got photo bombs from Mosley Manning going on in the back. She just got off Space Mountain. She's excited. Look, I heard Eli chirping a little bit. Look, Wes has the reins. Until it's not going well, and I can take over. So that's just kind of the deal. But I expect Wes to be focused, to do the job. And like I said, Tua is our running back. Is our starting quarterback. We have other Dolphins, players in the backfield. So it should be pretty smooth, I think.
Okay, and last thing about the Pro Bowl before we ask you about the Super Bowl, as you get back to your vacation with your family that you've obviously earned, and shout out to Mosley making an appearance. Any Manning that makes an appearance on the program, we are honored.
Yep, awesome.
Just like Eli put a bounty on your head pretty much in the dodgeball game. He said anybody that hits you right in the dome will earn some sort of bounty from him. Are you keeping your head on a swivel, that big-ass head on a swivel during dodgeball? And what do you think about his tactics kind of being a little bit dirty this year, seemingly?
Yeah, look, Eli's comfortable, right? They won in kind of a controversial ruling last year. Look, it's got an asterisk next to it, Pat. You know that. You were broadcasting it. You saw what happened at the end of the game. So, look, he's cocky. He's comfortable. He's got to get some new material besides the forehead jokes, right? It's just, 3 years now of the same stuff, right? Find some different writers and come back with something stronger. But, yeah, I'll be ready. I was talking to Quentin last night. I got Quentin Nelson. I got Ryan Kelly. I got my bodyguards, the AFC guys that are going to take care of me tonight. So I feel safe tonight for sure in dodgeball.
Couple Colts offensive linemen. Happy they came back to form this past year. Same with Gardner Minshew, obviously, on the squad. I'm excited to see him throughout all the games. He's electrifying. Let's talk about the Super Bowl here while we have you for a minute or two. Both these teams seem to be obviously playing their best ball, but also seem to be hated publicly, for whatever reason. The Chiefs, they win too much. The Niners, well, their quarterback is just surrounded by good players. It's like it's a Super Bowl. No shit. How do you feel about the matchup between the two, and how do you kind of see the game going, Peyton?
Look, I think it's the two best teams that are playing because they've done it, because they've gotten to this point. I think we've learned, don't tell Patrick Mahomes that he can't do something. Oh, you can't win in Buffalo? Watch this. No way you can win in Baltimore in an AFC championship. Watch this. And then everybody kind of wanted to write the Niners off after the Baltimore game and look, Green Bay at halftime, I think everybody said this game's over. The same for the Detroit game. And all they do is just keep fighting and keep coming back. And look, Brock Purdy, all he does is get it done. He's calm and cool. I'm waiting to see Brock Purdy sweat. I haven't seen him sweat yet. He just looks as calm and collected in the pocket as Joe Montana. So it's the two best teams. I don't think Kyle Shanahan is super excited about the Niners being favorites. I think he'd like to have some say in that and I'm not sure why people keep picking against the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes as underdogs, but I know he likes that. I know he has that laminated in the locker room, bulletin board material. We're the underdogs. They're going to, channel that. So, look, it's been proven that I'm a bad predictor, so I'm not about to make a prediction. I think it's going to be a heck of a game. I think it's going to be high scoring. I do. I think it's going to be an offensive game, which is great. Look, what both of those teams did in the playoffs, and especially in the championship games under tough conditions, my hat's off to them, and they deserve to be in this game.
All right. Well, enjoy the hell out of Disney World. Good luck this weekend at the Pro Bowl. You can't become completely defeated as a coach in the Pro Bowl. That can't happen. That's not Peyton Manning,
I agree, Pat. It won't happen. We will even the score in Orlando. And MVP, they used to give a car to the MVP. So we're working on the gift. Maybe, Pat McAfee wants to, name the MVP, but I'm going the early MVP candidate as I'm going CJ Stroud for the MVP.
Ooh. Hey, rookie too, so it's his first time. He's going to want to ball out just like he has all year. I'm excited to see what Wes Welker cooks up for the boys. You're the man. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Pat.
All right, see you, Mosley. Ladies and gentlemen, Peyton Manning.
Peyton.
All right, so that we talked about it a bit yesterday with JJ, but it's real. Like, Peyton Manning used to be the mayor of the Pro Bowl. And the reason why he was the mayor of the Pro Bowl is because obviously his dad was there. So he'd been at the Pro Bowl since he's like a little kid. And if you do recall, Eli and Peyton, I think there was like a Reebok commercial from back in the day when they're like 8 or 9 years old playing football in the front yard down in New Orleans. And they're like, even the next generation is ready. So they've actually been talked about as NFL quarterbacks since before they could handwrite, So the amount of pride that they have in the NFL and how thankful they are to be a part of the NFL is real and genuine. And when Peyton started seeing what was happening with the Pro Bowl, I think he was like, this can't, we got to keep this and preserve something in the NFL. Like we can't just lose everything to the modern way of thinking and business decisions and people lacking interest in stuff. Like, Pro Bowl has to remain something that has value and has importance, because the guys who work their ass off and the guys that carry the league, that's who the Pro Bowlers are. The Pro Bowlers are the guys that make all the money for the league. They're the ones that sell the tickets. They're the ones that make the teams good. It's like there has to be some sort of feeling of that still. So I appreciate that he's investing all the way back in it. I think it's going to be tough to make it like it once was, but as long as it remains something that is still somewhat important, I think that's good for all parties.
I'm sure we talked about it last year, but was there ever a reason given why they decided to move it away from Hawaii? Well, that's what I figured that was part of it, but then
I think that was a part of it.
That's a problem.
I was going to say that's why you just assumed, because
I was the first year at Arizona. I think the first time they moved. I've never been more, because I probably should have made it the year before too. Okay, just so we have that all, and I didn't. So then the year I make it, I'm like super pumped. I'm like, this is a dream come true. And like, it's in Arizona. I'm like, all right, I love Arizona. Still love Arizona.
Yes.
Probably going to end up living in Arizona. I will. But them moving it away from Hawaii, I think, it was also a long trip out there.
For sure.
Yeah. The amount of time it takes, the amount of money it takes, everything like that.
So fun, though.
Everybody loved it.
Oh, my God.
Listen to this. Everybody loved it out there. It was like the perfect thing.
It would eliminate all opt-outs, wouldn't it? I mean, outside of guys in the Super Bowl, like, for the most part, most of those big-name guys, because you can just treat it like a vacation. You can bring your significant other or your whole family. Like, I feel like if it was still there, then we wouldn't have the 7th, 8th alternates like we have now.
We're just in a different era of humans.
Yeah.
Is
it
it
it's after?
What's that?
It's before the Super Bowl now? Because
it was after.
Yeah, it used to be
back
after.
then it was
right.
after, so it was like, hey,
the week after,
over.
I think, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it the week? Because even Super Bowl guys wouldn't play in it, but they would still go.
Yeah, like the Patriots
And the
guys
Stavs,
would show up late. Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Connor. The Stavs were like, if you lost the division round, that was the consolation prize. You wanted to keep playing. You wanted a chance to be in the championship game and go on to a Super Bowl, but you got to take your whole family. That whole deal about the pool and all that, the one thing they tell you is don't let anybody know your room number. Because like Manning, Peyton.
Charge it.
As soon as so Coach, what room you staying at? So as soon as you say that, like, you go to check out, because they know that, league's going to take care of like the head coach and the coach. Just give everybody your room number. So your bill's like $55,000.
But they rented a whole resort. It was like the whole resort was for the NFL. It was for to celebrate a great season, to celebrate the league.
And it's a shame. It's a shame that it got to the point where the game got to where it got to, as far as not tax. I mean, it just became
everything. Well, once the NFL, I think a lot of people blame the players for that, which is certainly fair. Mm-hmm. I think with the way it all ended up. But once they see the NFL was kind of. The NFL is not fully invested in it, so why are we? We're supposed to be fully invested, but the NFL is like, let's take this. When it was in Arizona, didn't even rent the whole hotel. They didn't. There was other conventions happening in the hotel. Luke Kuechly's walking through the lobby, and there's some diehard Carolina Panthers fan who was at a convention for some other logistics thing in the same hotel, just badgering him for 45 minutes in the lobby as he's trying to talk to JJ. It was crap. It was absolute crap. And it was my first year there. I'm a punter, and obviously I don't have a lot of say in anything, but I'm looking around, I'm like, this doesn't feel like it's a special. It feels like a job more so.
No wonder guys don't want to come back if that's going on.
Bingo. It's you can't blame Tom Brady. I'm not going to that.
Yeah.
Tom Brady would have zero anything. It's back when it was in Hawaii, it was the full resort. It was guys, would talk guys into doing stuff too. The quarterback challenge. Maybe some guys weren't going to do it, but then at the pool, have a couple drinks. You start talking a little bit. It's all right, let's go let's not get hurt, but let's go do this. It was it was more of a specialty. And I'm happy to hear that they're trying at least to get it back in there. He said the NFL has been listening to the player stuff, but I feel like that's a mission that Peyton is really trying to kind of bring back, and I hope they do it. The water balloon toss last year was tough. The water balloon toss was tough last year, but I appreciate that they're evolving, they're changing, and hopefully it will remain something that people are proud to be a part of, which they should be.
Do we know any of the new games?
Water war. Tic-tac-toe with the long snappers.
And kick-tac-toe with the kickers, which happened in Hawaii. That was something they did back in Hawaii. I think they did horse or something back in Hawaii.
Did fans go in Hawaii? Were there a lot of fans there or not really?
I think they had to stay. I think the stands were filled up.
Yeah, nice.
But it was also, I think, locals and people traveled out there.
Right.
But it was special. You just knew it was special, kind of went hand in hand. So whenever they tried to change it, who knows? Once the toothpaste is out of the bottle, can you shove it back in?
Yep.
They're going to find out.
I'm excited for tonight, though.
They're going to find out. If anybody can do it, Peyton can.
Yeah, he's the one.
He can shove it back in there. We shall see. Because I was proud to make the Pro Bowl. Then I went to it, and then I made another one, and I said, I'm not.
That's not what it is.
Not me. I'm not going to that thing. They wanted me to build a sidewalk in the middle of the desert. Okay. I don't think so.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. Can I just don't? What do you want me to do? We need you to build a sidewalk out in the middle of the desert it's for kids. It's I love those kids. Please tell them that. But also, I'm not pouring cement in the middle of the desert.
I'll give you $100,000.
Okay, can I donate? Can I donate the thing? Oh, I'm a bad guy.
Come on. We'll do a playground. Playground. Hey, we're good with a playground, but
hey, we go pour cement in the middle of the desert. Be good for the community. It's okay. I was just up for the World's Peyton Man of the Year. I love it, and I'm very lucky to give. I understand this whole thing, but. This is not what I thought the Pro Bowl. I just want to let you know, this is not what I thought this was going to be at all. Well, will you do a 40-yard dash for Rich Eisen's 40? Yeah, I will do it. Okay, sounds good. So I'm there with I think Aqib Talib and a couple other guys. And right before it, I'm like, you didn't want to pour cement? He was like, nope. I was like, me neither. So we're doing this. This is what we're doing instead. It was it lost its way. And I would assume it was people that had no idea what the Pro Bowl was, who were tasked with reimagining the Pro Bowl. And I'm happy to hear that Peyton hopefully is back more hands-on in creating it all. Because in the football world, the Pro Bowl it still counts. Whenever people talk about Hall of Fame, whenever people talk about legacy, whenever they do the whole thing, bonuses, contracts, it still matters, but does it? The event itself seemingly dropping off.
Tonight we have precision passing. Best catch closest to the pin, which is golf. High stakes, which is catching punts from the jug machine. How many you can catch and keeping your hands at the same time, I believe.
I like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Dodgeball and then kick-tac-toe.
Okay. So I think I'm not kayfabe. I'm not giving it away.
Do they?
But you might as well, tease so people watch.
What I've been told is Justin Tucker really wanted to win that kick-tac-toe.
Okay.
And he's going against Brandon Aubrey. Rookie kicker.
Young buck.
Yeah. So I think that one might be pretty I think it'll be good entertainment.
Okay.
Yeah.
From what I've been told.
I hope they didn't release the whole thing on the Instagram because I watched it last night and I feel like I already know who wins because I watched the whole entire thing.
Yeah. Should also not give away things.
Yeah, I know.
Especially.
I was shocked.
Wait, it's not live tonight?
So I was about to say, I heard it's already been recorded, but then I said kayfabe, but now you're saying social media team, shout out Omar and them, are like, hey, listen, this is happening tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll just go ahead and put this one out.
And they showed who won. They didn't just show like, hey, they're doing kick-tack-toe. It was like, hey, this team won.
I'm sure that was a strategy on purpose.
I hope.
I'm sure that wasn't just some rogue operatives saying, hey, we'll go ahead and ruin everything.
Yeah, maybe it was like best out of 3.
That's not how the social media team at ESPN works.
No, they would never.
They wouldn't do that. Not at all.
That is an interesting move, though.
They are all in always on like ESPN products.
Yeah.
That is what, if we were to say something about the ESPN social media team, we'd say, you know what? They care about ESPN products.
Amen.
Having success.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that what everybody says?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're always posting SVP during the year.
Yeah, you're right. On that Sports Center account?
Yeah, after, the bad beat segment, all that. Yeah.
Sweet highlights from like 10 years ago. Lots of stuff.
Yeah, it is. Gumps.
What was that?
No, like the Pro Bowl 10 years ago.
We've already started enough wars.
No, they had Dan Marino on there 10 years ago hitting the target,
We do appreciate the hell out of them putting some of our stuff out on their accounts. We appreciate that. Did not expect that, have not expected that, but that's been very kind of them. I wonder if they were forced to do that. Oh, they were. Okay, sweet. Very, very appreciative of that. Let's talk about some things happening around, not by us. Other people that want us to succeed in ESPN, which there are people, from what I've been told.
The few, the proud. The people at ESPN who want us to succeed.
We appreciate you. We appreciate the hell out of you. We do. We appreciate the hell out of you. All right, let's talk about some other news around the NFL. George Kittle and Hutchinson had a moment that the world saw. We actually saw it on In the Trenches where George Kittle got good leverage on Hutch and he pancaked them. Well, it was all mic'd up with NFL films for Inside the NFL. Here's how the whole play went down from the inside from these two guys.
Watch George Kittle here. This against Aiden Hutchinson.
I don't know who's more excited, Kittle or you as a tight end.
That's a big-time matchup.
That's good timing. It screwed me. My proprioception. Your proprioception. That's a Michigan word. I'm an Iowa guy. You can't say stuff like that.
Okay, so proprioception, I think everybody probably Googled it after seeing this video. Yep. But whenever you see George Kittle take that much pride in blocking, that goes to the culture, I believe, that the Niners have. And that goes to what type of guy Kittle is, and not just him, but the entire team. As a former coach, especially hard-nosed, old-school football coach, have to love seeing stuff like this, especially from the inside, Chuck.
Absolutely, because you don't see those, the same old Y stud tight ends, inline tight ends that used to do that for a living and have jobs because of that. You see all these, we used to name them queen tight ends. They're the H-back, the move guy, the displaced, get out here, and they don't want to do any heavy lifting. So you got to love that.
Is that Shanahan? Is that Lynch? Is that just George Kittle's special? What do you think it is? Why do you think they have everybody bought in, seemingly, in San Francisco?
It's that culture. It's like they know exactly before they go get these dudes, okay, what are the characteristics? What's the football character of the makeup this team going to be?
How do you figure that out? Senior Bowl, Combine, asking people what?
That's the hardest thing because it's not quantifiable, right? What makes a guy tick? So that's the hardest job for a scout, a coach, anybody is figure out what makes this guy tick. Is he one of us?
Senior Bowl is happening right now. We're watching it on NFL Network. Shout out to the 75th anniversary team, boys. We did it. We absolutely did it. Asked Rappaport to pick up my plaque if they're handing those out whenever he's down there. Wish I could make it back to Mobile for the celebration. But it's like this is an opportunity for guys to learn about these players a little bit closer. If there's a bad rep and we're watching one-on-ones, should we just automatically assume those guys are screwed forever?
No.
Okay, good.
Well, there's one guy who ripped off a helmet. There's a D lineman who ripped off an O lineman's helmet.
Pass rush, right? One-on-one.
Yeah, is that not something like, hey, we can't get this guy?
Well, there's an internet scout that told me that this is probably going to hurt this guy's draft stock because in one-on-ones between a center and a D lineman, they got a little feisty.
Well, to me, I love that, but let's just temper it. Say, look, you're going to cost your team. I love your fight. I love all that. The guy's got some nasty to him, but you can't be ripping guys' helmets off. So
he didn't bonk anyone on the head with it. True.
No, at least he didn't do that. Like we saw that happen, right?
I'm prime time. Right? To a Defense Player of the Year, Defense Player of the Year candidate did it, but it is. I appreciate all the new people that are covering the NFL, and I appreciate how much people are invested. But just making blanket statements about things, about like, this is going to kill his draft. It's like, you don't know that because there's actually some teams that'll see that and be like,
hell yes,
we want that guy. Like there's things that happen that aren't necessarily society driven, morally correct, where some football teams are like, we need a guy like that on our team, actually. And I'm not saying they should do that every single play, but whenever we're getting an opportunity to see these guys risk their futures or try to prove their futures, it's like too often everybody's just kind of on this rep it's over, on this rep it's happening. It's like it's a full makeup, right, between this, the combine, what they did in college, what people are saying, just trying to get as much information as possible.
Just one piece. It's just one piece of the puzzle because they're going to go back and watch this guy's body of work. Biggest piece is his college, tape. You're going to watch that. Then you're going to see him in an all-star game. Then he's going to come hopefully to the combine. You're going to see him again. So it's bring him in for a top 30. So that
Senior Bowl matters, though, I think.
Absolutely, it matters.
Tomlin's in the middle of drills.
What's Coach Tomlin doing? He's the mayor of Mobile right now. He's talking to every single guy. He's in the middle, and he's not on any of the coaching staffs. But I assume he could do whatever.
That's the biggest thing is trying to get close to these guys. They have it set up to where you got meetings with these guys, so they can go down there and interview them. Whether it's 15 minutes like the combine, but you have a chance. You have a chance to lay eyes on these guys. You have a chance to talk to these guys. Tomlin gets down there and interacts with them and tries dap guys up, this, that, and the other. But you want to see guys compete. You want to see how these guys interact with other players, because you're going to tell there's going to be certain guys that don't say shit in these units. They don't say a word. And then you're going to see a guy that kind of sticks out and separates himself as a leader, as a guy that's vocal, as a guy that'll not only hold himself accountable but hold the other guys accountable in that setting. And that's like, okay, that guy, he separated himself just that way.
To your point, after day one, Roman Wilson had a great day at wideout. The corner from Toledo had a great day, and Tomlin went up to him before day two and said, "You two have every single rep against each other today." That's like, hey, you two are going together against each other every single rep today.
It's awesome. It's like I appreciate that people are playing in it too. Names that we know in the Senior Bowl, because it was starting to get to a point where agents, I think, were telling players not to go to the Senior Bowl, and obviously don't do the combine. CJ threw at the combine. And he put on an absolute show. And I think what he proved is like, hey, this guy's confident in what he's able to do. And also, he's looking out for everybody else. It's like there's a give and a take with everything. If you get hurt, obviously, worst case scenario for everybody. But I think a lot of people are scared they're going to get exposed or play bad in these games. Well, then you're going to get exposed at some point. Anyways, I think the more participation we have in these, the more opportunities to prove how great you are, people should take advantage of it. And it feels like the Senior Bowl is a little bit heightened this year with more names that we know as opposed to the names that we don't.
And some of the success that like guys who have played in it in years past, like they were showing clips of Josh Allen, they were showing clips of Puka Nacua. But how funny is it that 3 weeks ago we were talking about Mike Tomlin maybe not coaching anymore, and we're 3 weeks removed, and he
was stepping away.
Stepping away because he didn't want to do it anymore. Now he's in Mobile, Alabama, 3 weeks after losing in the playoffs, talking to every single player, already
Sweet
getting ready
Hoka's
for.
too.
Yeah, it was Sweet Hoka's.
Yeah, the Hokas are obviously
great
sweeping
coach's choice.
the globe. If you're standing and walking, it's not a bad idea to get actual cumulus clouds underneath your feet as you walk around in the Hawaiian created Hokas and everything like that. We got some breaking news off the internet. Diana Rossini just tweeted that Bill Belichick was considered for the job with the Commanders, and the Commanders spoke with him, and he had support from some decision makers, but in the end, Dan Quinn is their choice. Now, Rossini's fresh off a hit piece of the New York Jets just yesterday with The Athletic. Obviously, she has a lot of sources and is plugged. The Commanders came out earlier in the whole thing and said, we are not interested in Bill Belichick, but they were also interested in a bunch of people that ended up not being their head coach. I do wonder what the story is about Bill Belichick in this coaching cycle, and if he only chatted with the Falcons, because you would assume that if he was chatting with the Commanders at all, the whole world would have heard about it, but they also might have just been trying to keep it on DL comment.
Yeah, I guess. I love Diana Rossini, so Payne's going to say this, but that's complete bullshit. I mean, you don't come out and say, hey, there's no chance that we're going to talk to this guy. That's not our guy. And I believe there was a list of people they talked to, and he wasn't on it. But, I mean, it felt like they weren't in on Bill from Jump Street. And then how would they be in on Dan Quinn after the performance they had in the playoffs and not in on Bill? Like, why wouldn't that be more – wouldn't this kind of feel like an insider after the fact?
Dan Quinn's 20 years younger than Bill.
Well, no, 13, kind of, 12 and a half. But still, doesn't
What is his age? 50 what?
59.
Oh, okay. I thought he was 53.
So did I.
50, at least on that list. I thought that's what I saw.
Okay. Well, hey, listen, I thought I saw 53, but you could certainly be right. I was trying to remember.
I might be wrong. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 39's right above it. Yeah.
Okay.
So 15 years.
So he's 20 years younger than Bill Belichick, which might be,
it's a lot of years.
a potential reasoning. reasoning behind it all.
Sure.
But you're right. You're 100% right about what Dan Quinn showed at the end. Like, Dallas, I think, was okay with him taking another job and getting a new DC at the end. But also very okay with him coming back. So, I mean, I guess on the field there's a conversation to be had. But I think Dan Quinn being there and having done the job already, because when you become a head coach, it's a whole new line of bullshit, right? Of things that come across your desk.
There's no manual.
And you just got to deal with it.
I remember sitting in Indy when the dust settled, you come back to the presser, meet with everybody, right? And then team.
How old were you when you got the job?
52.
Okay. So
Too old.
Yeah, of course, Connor. Turned 52 in October that first season, 212. So, yeah, sitting at the desk and everybody's gone, day's over, and I'm like opening drawers looking for like the head coaching manual that, Coach Caldwell maybe left behind. Like, what do you do now? What the frick did we just do to ourselves, right? Yeah, there's no manual, so you just one day at a time and just kind of, there's going to be a lot more stuff.
It feels like the Seattle Seahawks are doing what the Eagles have done for a long time. Schneider becomes like the guy in charge, hire a 36-year-old coach, take a lot of the stuff that normally would come across the head coach's desk, put that to Schneider's desk. You just worry about operating the team. Now, if he has massive success over the next 3, 4, 5 years, then there's going to come a situation potentially like Peterson had with Philadelphia where he's going to want more say, and then they'll figure that out, I assume, whenever they get there. But that feels like the method that they want, and the Commanders want with a guy like, hey, this guy's been here, done this before. We want a little bit of stability, maybe. Vrabel.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
He's, by all accounts, good ball coach.
Yeah.
Like, even people that hate the Patriots dynasty,
yes,
he was a part of that, say he's a good coach. People in the AFC South, he's a good coach. People that maybe don't like the state of Ohio, for whatever, I'm not one of those people, but just Ohio folks don't like. He's a good ball coach. People that don't like people that chew and vape and smoke and all that, they say he's a good ball coach. Was able to lead the Tennessee Titans to a number 1 overall seed with like a record-breaking 90 guys coming through their roster because the amount of people went on IR. I wonder why. We talk about Bill, obviously, because he's 15 wins away from being the greatest winning coach of all time and everything like that. But like Vrabel's just kind of sneaking through this entire thing without a job is almost more surprising to me than Bill. It is more surprising to me than Bill.
It seems like in a lot of these situations, like they went with the younger guy who they could still kind of control a little bit. Like if you get a guy like Vrabel, it's kind of similar to Belichick in terms of like he's obviously not going to be the GM, but like what Vrabel says goes. Like it's his team. It's not. I mean, yeah, the owner owns the team, but like it's Mike Vrabel's team. Like whereas in Tennessee, like we saw Rand Carthon got that promotion. He's executive vice president now and GM. So like yeah, they hire Brian Callahan, but like Rand Carthon's running the show. And it seems like in a lot of these places where these younger guys got hired, that was kind of the modus operandi. It was like, hey, we're kind of taking the team back. We'll get a young guy. Hopefully he has success, but the people in place, the football ops people, are the ones we want running the show.
Our sources are telling us that Bill and the Commanders never spoke.
Okay.
Oh, really?
That's just what our sources are telling us.
Oh, okay. No shit.
That's what our source says are telling us via text message immediately upon us saying it on the show. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool part of our job now. Back in the day, we didn't necessarily have every human watching our show from at least every different place. And so we would say something and it wouldn't be till like a week or two later where somebody would be like, hey, I saw a clip where you said this. Now in real time, we're getting texted. No, that's not how it went down.
Shout out.
Conflicting reports. Nonetheless, Dan Quinn's the coach. Now let's go back to Dallas. Dallas is going to have to find a defense coordinator. I assume Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy will have that figured out. Here's Jerry Jones, though, speaking about Dak Prescott and the future of the Dallas Cowboys.
Dak has done nothing to change my mind of any promise for the future. I think I said in the deal that we'd go as far as Dak takes us in the playoffs. Remember that?
Right.
How do you go as far as Dak takes us?
Right.
How do you feel he played?
And that's how far we went.
Right. So
okay. So my point is that doesn't change a thing.
Okay.
We'll go as far as Dak takes us.
How do you feel he played against Green Bay? You may have just said it there, but how do you feel he performed against the Packers?
Well, I think that we as a team laid an egg. And that's not specifically, I want to say it and respond that way. And you can start here, and I'm not trying to be magnanimous or anything, but you can start here and you can go all the way down the line. That was a bad day for us. And manifests and created a lot of scrutiny on days long before that and long after that. That's what kind of day it was. And so it'll be an impactful day. We'll do things that honor the fact that we didn't play well against the Packers.
Jerry Jones known a lot for potentially saying, what's going on over there? One time in his life whenever he was a child. Also a man who's still in Mobile, Alabama. Okay, for the Senior Bowl. You don't think he's invested in the Dallas Cowboys and hoping to see them win one last time? And he said, I still believe that we go as Dak goes, and we got exactly how far Dak went. And the person was like, exactly. Is that where you want to? He goes, well, the whole team laid an egg there now.
I was going to say.
So Jerry having to talk and still talking about the Dallas Cowboys is something that has become a tradition, obviously, with sports media. Listening to Jerry talk about the Cowboys. What did you hear from him there? Because I think what I heard was whole team sucked. It's not just that, which then is that Mike McCarthy he's talking to? Is that Dan Quinn, who's already out there that he's talking to? Who do you think Jerry's talking to? And what do you think they do next at the DC position, Chuck?
That was really hard to hear.
Why?
That muffled room, wherever he
Oh, so you didn't even hear what Jack said?
No, I heard a lot of it before, but
figuratively.
Like this all-in deal, like they're going to be, haven't they been all in? And then he mentions his relationship. I don't know if it was mentioned there, but then his relationship with Bill, he's got to bring Bill Belichick up, right? Absolutely could work with him. And then this is all on Dak. We're going to go as far as Dak. Well, did he just say that what happened with the defense? They did give up 48 points, right? Yeah, so.
And that guy's the head coach now.
Yeah, Bill Belichick, Vrabes or not. But Dan Quinn put together a great body of work.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, Micah Parsons was also talking about the Dallas Cowboys season, and this is what he had to say fresh off, I believe, a vacation.
They talking about we're going all in this year, man. That's what I would hope for. I'm 24 years old. I've been in this league, 3 years, and I kind of seen it all, and I hope that we go all in. I hope that we go out and get the players that we're missing because we didn't do that this year. I hope that we challenge ourselves, become better, and become greater for us. And I'm trying to say this in, like, the most nice way possible because of how, I truly feel. And, you got analysts and you got guys like Skip that just talk so crazy out on the media just because they can.
Yeah, and he would go on to bury Skip. We don't need to, kind of run that. Didn't bury him that way, just still in a respectful way. But Skip obviously threw away 45 jerseys into his automatic trash can with Ernesty filming him. And after the Cowboys lost to the Packers, it's obviously heartbreaking. The Cowboys always going to be talked about. But he's saying he's hoping that we go all in. They kind of did, though. Yeah. Right? I assume that's what Jerry Jones is. Hey, Micah, we did go all in. I don't know if you know that. They bring in Stephon Gilmore.
Yep.
Who else?
They bring in Brandon Cooks on offense. They draft Jake Ferguson to replace Dalton Schultz, which worked.
Diggs gets hurt halfway through the year. Now, that obviously a whole different ball game whenever you lose an elite corner. But Dan Quinn, new head coach of the Commanders, seemingly got the defense back on track. I like that the expectation is that we're going all in, we're spending money, and we're trying to win a Super Bowl every single year. But, boy, it gets loud down there in the Big D whenever they don't.
I think he's talking about the fact that, they got boat raced. And didn't bring in linebackers like after Van Der Esch got hurt. I think that's what he's talking about. They didn't add some pieces on defense that could have helped them make some adjustments in that game because they had no adjustment.
We respect and love the hell out of Micah, just like we appreciate all you. We'll be back with hour 2 on the other side.
In an abandoned warehouse, Arthur Isaac Fischel, the world's AI authority, has summoned the Earth's most influential doofuses for an emergency meeting about the terrifying powers of artificial intelligence. Antonio Margherita, influencer from Italy. Vladimir Borobashnakovsky. Chad Speed. Jim. We catch up with them mid-dinner as Artie Fish tries his damnedest to get the influencer's attention.
Yes, that'll work. Thank you. Scram. Let's get down to brass tacks, boys. The real reason we're here. AI is it's a problem. It's going to kill us all.
It's hard to take you serious with the way your face looks right now. I mean, you look like a fucking asshole. What are you talking about?
Oh, the only thing artificial is those fucking balls you call balls.
You look absolutely absurd.
You guys don't understand. You're not listening to me, okay? I'm wearing this because AI can hear your thoughts. It can get into your brain, guys.
You ain't got no fucking brain.
Once again, struggling to take anything you say serious. My team told me I should come to this. You look like a joke. He looks like a joke.
Like an absolute jerk off.
Does this look like a joke? Huh? That's a nuclear bomb.
Nah, that's fake.
Just fucking like bad man puts marbles in plastic case.
You need a Duma, my friend.
You guys aren't listening. This right here, AI gave to me a nuclear freaking bomb. Told me the only way to save this screwed up world is to blow it up. This guy awake? Idiot.
Wake up, asswipe.
You wouldn't hit somebody with a
No, yeah, fuck.
No, don't you worry. This one is foolproof.
I doubt it.
I brought it here, boys. Not just for show.
What?
But because I'm gonna blow up the world right now!
Holy shit! That's Jack Carr!
Turns out, that was an actual nuclear bomb. Arthur Isaac Fischel was going to blow the entire world up, and Jack Carr saved us all. It was his actual first shot. And Artie Fish is actually dead. Forever. Thank the Lord that Jack Carr sensed trouble. Hell yeah, Jack Carr. Hell yeah.
The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey, what? Let's go!
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for. Ah! The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, you pig! Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life. Sport! Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Coach 'em Up Thursday, February 1st, 2024. Hour 2 of the program starts now. Football is beautiful. Football is the topic of conversation for us most days. The Toxic Table is here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. One half of the Hammer, Dahn. Cowboys Tone Diggs is here. 36-year coach, our coach, the people's coach, Chuck Pagano is here at Baby Chuck. Coach. A lot of coach moves happening today. It's a beautiful time to have Chuck Pagano here. It's also great to have a man joining us from an attic in Ohio. He's a college football national champion, a Super Bowl champion, the all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, a COVID survivor, and a father of 10. The current president of Ohio, ladies and gentlemen, AJ Hawk. AJ, let's jump right in. Dan Quinn and Mike Macdonald, two defensive guys hired as head coaches in the last 24 hours. Macdonald for the Seahawks, Dan Quinn for the Commanders. What are your thoughts on the hirings, and how do you think this whole thing panned out, bub?
Well, it's good to see some defensive guys get hired as head coaching candidates right now, because it seems like we're in just over the last, since McVay, hey, let's go hire the youngest, most innovative play caller that we think is out there and hope that they can run a team. So I think this is awesome. I think Dan Quinn, we all assumed he was going to Seattle, right? And I guess Schefter kind of tipped us off, though, and let us know that things weren't I guess, the way that we thought they were.
Let's not give Schefter too much credit.
What did he know? Did he know? What do you think Schefter did know when he came on the other day and didn't tell us?
So Schefter pretty much told us that everybody has liked Mike Macdonald that has interviewed him, and the Seattle Seahawks have come out and said they're going to wait for the Baltimore Ravens to be done. So I think Schefter assumed that Mike Macdonald was going to get one of those jobs. Now, he refused to say that to us. He refused to say that to us. He just said, I'm willing to bet that one, if not both of those, are not true. It's like, What else?
Elaborate, please.
So maybe next year with Schefter, we'll be able to get the inside voices outside, and we will certainly continue to attempt to do that. But the Macdonald guy, I guess he is impressed everywhere. 36 years old, that's my age. I'm super pumped that he is getting an opportunity to lead a team over there in Seattle. But with Schneider in charge, you assume Macdonald is just going to be able to run the football stuff. Schneider's going to do everything else, and let's assume they get along. Right, I don't know Schneider. You know him a lot better than I do because he was with Green Bay beforehand. Everybody says great things about him, except for, I assume, Pete Carroll. As Pete Carroll was learning, he was getting kicked out the door, AJ.
Yeah, I do wonder if if Schneider and Pete's relationship is on the rocks at all. I bet they're still, I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure they're still communicating all right. I don't know. If not, hey, time heals all.
Schneider's
usually,
a football
right?
guy, right? It wasn't the football guy's move. It wasn't the football guy's decision.
Yeah, he says
you're right.
These aren't football people that are making these decisions, so maybe Schneider was on his side. Nonetheless, Macdonald's out of Baltimore. Baltimore's going to have to figure it out now.
Yeah.
Right? Baltimore's going to have to make some decisions.
Some big losses.
Yeah, legit. Go ahead.
Ortiz.
Okay, Ortiz.
New GM. Joey Ortiz. Unbelievable. That was a great hire. Paired up with Jimmy Harbaugh now over in L.A. Mike Macdonald, obviously, and then we're hearing that
their secondary coach,
coach Darren.
He's going to be the DC of the Titans, I believe.
Yeah, he was at Philly. He was at Philly a year ago, right? He's a great DB coach. Was at Philly, wanted to stay Philly, wanted to be that coordinator, didn't get the job, right? So they kind of parted ways, went to Baltimore, their secondary, their defense. We saw that,
and
right?
we saw what happened with Phillies.
Yeah, Denard Wilson, excuse me. Denard Wilson's his name. My apologies. So he's the new DC in Tennessee I read this morning.
So he's at, McDonald's at.
Yikes.
I think Queen's contract is up, but they're going to have to make that happen. But this is what happens when you have success.
Yep.
Let alone what's going to happen to this Niners and Chiefs teams.
Oh, man.
Like, we have no idea who's going to get plucked. What passing game coordinator, what run game coordinator, what GA that we don't even know of is going to get a position group job somewhere. That's what happens when you win. When you win, they say there's enough to go around. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be enough here, potentially somewhere else. It's a part of it all.
You guys talk about it all the time. Like, in that Ravens roster, like, Queen could be gone. It's like, do they bring back Van Noy and Clowney on the other side, they brought in this year on, I believe, 1-year deals? Like, you guys in those locker rooms, they change so much year to year.
Well, that's why there's so much emotion whenever teams lose after a good run, because it's like, hey, what we had this year, it's never going to be.
First thing the coach says after the last, when you lose, like, hey, it's never going to be like this again. We will never be, this exact group will never be in a locker room together again. It might be a little turnover, might be a ton of turnover, but either way, it's true.
There's a finality to it all, and let alone the amount of luck. And we talked about this yesterday. The teams that make it this far, and MCDC chatted about that. About, I think we'll get back to this point, but who knows? Because the amount of balls that have to bounce your way, like an oblong football has to bounce left into your guy's hand at some point, as opposed to bouncing right into the other team's hand, and you steal a win. Like, the teams that end up lasting, which is, once again, why what New England was able to accomplish for 20 years is so absurd. It's like the ball has to go your way, injuries have to go your way, and by injuries, it's like going your way. They're going to happen. Can't happen at key positions in key points of the schedule. Like, if it happens early in the year when you're not really playing anybody, okay. If it happens late, whenever there's a playoff race to a very important position, it's like, that can kill you. And that can come out of nowhere. That could be somebody's foot stepping on somebody's foot in the meeting room. And then all of a sudden you're out and a whole game plan's off. It's like, to win in the league is so hard. And then once you win, you're going to get people plucked out of your shit. And now you got to replace them somehow. We saw it with the Eagles, not be able to do it with coordinator jobs. Now Dallas is going to have to fill that defense coordinator job. Al Harris, I believe, is who Ed Werder is reporting that Trevon Diggs and I assume many others are hoping for to be the defense coordinator, I would assume. Yes?
He quote tweeted a Trevon Diggs tweet that says he wants Al Harris for the DC.
Zach Ed Werder was doing that. I'm getting news from the back. I do not know who this human is, but the Ravens have hired their new DC. Zach Orr has been named the Ravens defense coordinator, replacing Mike Macdonald. The former Ravens linebacker who retired early from playing due to a neck injury has been serving as the team's inside linebackers coach and has had a fast rise, just 31 years old, and now the DC in Baltimore. So they go from Macdonald, who was 34 or 35 when he was hired as DC, coming back to Baltimore out of Michigan, who Sherrone Moore will be joining us in about 4 minutes or so. Now they go with a 31-year-old DC who's already been in the building. That's good news.
Yeah, absolutely. Been there, been with Macdonald, knows the system, terminology, obviously has a great relationship with all those players. This is probably a really good hire for them.
Probably, yeah. That's how we have to feel about everything, by the way.
Yeah.
Even
continuity.
Even people we know getting hired that are like, we assume are going to be, we have no idea.
No.
Some of these coaches might just go and lay an egg completely.
Oh, yeah.
Some of these coaches might not be able to build a culture. Some of these coaches might get incredibly unlucky when it comes to injuries and the ball bouncing their way, and their entire run is deemed a failure, but they're actually a good ball coach. We have no clue what's going to happen with any of these hirings, and also a lot of them, I have no idea who these guys are. I have no clue.
Nope. So young. I mean, 31 years old as a DC. I remember Zach Orr as a player. The fact that he's already a defensive coordinator is awesome. And going back to Al Harris in Dallas, I would love to see that. I played with Al in Green Bay for 5 years, I believe, and Al was unbelievable teammate, unbelievable player. I know he's been a great coach for a while now.
They say he's a genius, AJ.
Al was one of, I think I've said on here before, like, he is one of the most positive, upbeat, great teammates, and he would sit out there and not want to play any zone, not want to hear anything. He said, I am going to lock this dude up. Don't tell me anything. Like, I'm going to jam at the line, and I'm running with him, and I will lock him down all night long, and that's who Al is.
That type of mentality is what Dan Quinn is getting jobs because of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, you heard Schefter describe who Dan Quinn is and why the Commanders like him. Always upbeat, always uplifting, high energy guy. It's like that's a weapon. Instead of, they talk about being a fountain or a drain. Travis Kelce literally just talked about Butch Jones. Shout out to Butch. Butch was the one that decided to, alongside Rich Rodriguez, decided to have me punt my sophomore year when I was not a punter at West Virginia. He was a punt team coach, and they called him Mini Rod because he was a bit fiery.
Nice.
He was a bit fiery. He was a GA at the time, but he was running the punt team. So I know Butch Jones very well, and to hear his name mentioned by Travis is really cool to hear. But, you talk about what Nick Saban says, you're either giving energy or you're draining energy from people. You're either you're either an energy
vampire, right? Energy vampire.
It's like that is the thing that happens whenever you're in football, and it should be viewed in every aspect of life. Like, you're either giving energy or taking energy from people. Dan Quinn seemingly is a guy that is just giving energy to people, and it got him a head coaching job. I mean, that's a massive weapon to be able to be, as a guy that brings energy to people.
Yeah, and got him a head coaching job, especially after down the stretch. Like the Cowboys' defense was great early, and obviously Deron Bland sets the record for pick sixes and all that kind of stuff. But down the stretch, that was kind of what everyone was talking about. It's like, hey, when this offense is humming, the Cowboys are unbelievable, but their defense, like he was the hot name early, and then kind of we saw what happened down the stretch. So for him to still get a job and still get all those interviews, I mean, he was on 6 or 7 teams list. It's not like there was just one team who knew him in the past and knew all that kind of stuff. It was like, hey, despite what you guys kind of did down the stretch here, we know who you are as a person and your philosophy, and everyone kind of wanted a piece of him.
Not a lot of people in this building, in our company, negative humans.
No.
Yeah, there never will be either, by the way. Nobody wants to be around people that suck.
It's the worst.
It's a real thing. So, Josh Harris and Magic in them being, when Dan came in, liked his energy.
It felt good.
We could be around him.
Yeah.
I think Mike Macdonald probably the same thing. If you hear the way Schefter was talking about how everybody was talking about him, and you can control that. By the way, you can control your energy.
Choice.
You can control your attitude.
Choice.
You can make that choice to be an uplifting giver of energy as opposed to somebody that takes it. And if you want to make it, I think you should be a person that is positive. And upbeat. Even though some days it's hard, it's like the universe seems to reward those people. Now, are you happy because you win, or do you win because you're happy, is the old adage? I believe it's the second one. Now, joining us now is a man who not only has won and is happy, but is seemingly the perfect man for the job that he is currently holding.
Hell yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the newest head coach at the University of Michigan, an offensive coordinator who out-schemed everybody in college football this last year, Sherrone Moore. Thank you for joining us, man. This is really cool that you're taking time out of your recruiting visit to chit-chat with us. Congrats on the job, and thank you for the time, Sherrone.
No, appreciate you guys having me. on the road here, but excited.
Okay, so Coach, we all just assumed you were going to be the head coach if Harbaugh was to leave because of how you performed this past season whenever you were filling in for him late in the season. Now, during those 3 games that you got to be the head job guy, was it a moment in there where you're like, I could be a head coach? Or, yeah, I want to be a head coach? Or when did it really strike you that being a head coach, maybe even at Michigan, could have been a reality for you, Coach?
Yeah, really. During that 3-game stretch, my main focus was trying to do everything I could to prepare myself, prepare the players to get ready to win those games. Wasn't really thinking about the future. Was really thinking about what we could do to win those games, and wasn't really a time that I thought I could be a head coach at Michigan. I think that's always the goal in every coach's mind, and most coaches' mind, to be a head coach. So there wasn't really a moment, but I can tell you after winning that last one, it was pretty special. And it was something that I dreamed about, being the head coach at Michigan at some point.
We saw you get emotional afterwards and give love to Harbaugh and give love to Michigan and give love to your teammates or to the players. And then you heard all the players pouring support into you. And it's like the perfect situation seemingly for Michigan. How have you dealt with the transition from Harbaugh to you? How have you addressed it with the players? And you're obviously out on the road recruiting. What type of questions are you being asked about your philosophies as opposed to Coach Harbaugh's?
Yeah, the biggest thing people want to know is, how am I going to run the program compared to Coach? I'm going to run it my way, and we're still going to be tough. We're still going to be smart. We're going to be dependable. We're going to be relentless in everything we do, continue the enthusiasm. The energy, for me, is a big piece of it. I want to be someone that the kids can rely on, they can be a vessel for, be very open with them. My philosophy in coaching is I coach hard, but I love harder, so they're going to feel that. So, the program and how we've done it and how we've built it is going to be the same. There's going to be bits and pieces that is me. I'm going to be me. I can't be Coach. Don't want to be Coach. Coach is his own person. I love him. I got mad love for him and always will and respect him. And I've learned so much from him. But I'm going to run the program my way.
Hell yeah, Coach. Go ahead, AJ. Ohio State Buckeye legend here. AJ.
Yeah, I mean, I think you seem very comfortable in that role and also honoring Coach Harbaugh and everything you did when you stepped in. What are some of the things that you make that may be similar from Coach Harbaugh that you might carry over into the program?
Yeah, the toughness, the blue-collar mentality, how hard we work on the field, off the field, the academic standard, everything we do, we're definitely going to present ourselves in a high-class manner. We're going to continue to do that the exact same way. As far as a football team, you want to keep that as similar as possible. The results speak for themselves, so we want to continue to play at that high level with that physicality, with that toughness, and do everything, in that manner. But things on a day-to-day basis might be a little different, and as we go, we'll figure out what those things are.
Speaking about things being a little bit different, we're hearing about the old guard almost trying to get out of college football because of the new NIL and the new way that you have to kind of do things. It doesn't seem like you've had to do a lot of this, and we might be wrong, but recruiting your own players every single year, and then recruiting and NIL and dealing with the no guardrails. And obviously Michigan the last couple of years has had punishments against them that no other schools have had, and the NCAA is still looming at all times. It's like now for you, you're only going to know this era of football, of NIL football, of how it's all going to go. How are you balancing it all? Has there been like a sit down for you to break down how the NIL works with Michigan, how it's all going to go, who you have at your disposal? Like, how do you handle this new era that seemingly the old guard is trying to get away from?
Yeah, I mean, I've learned about the NIL era throughout the time here and try to be involved in listening and knowing what's going on, but the official sit-downs haven't really happened yet. I mean, I've been, got the job and ready to get on the road. So, I'd say for first-time head coach, I tell people like the first couple of days in comparison, it's -4 on, it's 3rd and 12 on the -4 yard line, and it's zero pressure. You got to figure out what to do with the ball. And it's becoming more of 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, more manageable, and I think every single day, I'll help you get ahead of the change. That's what I'm going to try to do every single day. And as far as the NIL piece, it's something that's there. It's something that you got to address, something that you got to attack, and you got to have a plan. And the plan that I think that we should have in place, we're going to start to implement, and hopefully that'll keep us where we need to be in college football.
All the distinguished Michigan alum love that you're the head coach.
Oh, yeah.
Love everything that you guys have built. Obviously, it's not the same in some other places. So congrats on getting a head start seemingly on the pop and the positivity. I don't know if you heard it. Coach Saban joined us every single week this season. And after losing to you guys in the Rose Bowl, he said that was the first time we saw a team in a huddle. That was the first time we saw a team in a huddle all year. And we got to be on the field for your last 2 games. And obviously, AJ played 12 years in the NFL. He'll say only 11. All-time leading tackler for the Packers. Darius J. Butler was with us. He played 9 years in the NFL. And we were watching you just out-scheme Bama. Like, there was guys wide open. They were confused. A lot of finger pointing. It's like, I think you showcased a massive football IQ when it comes to calling plays on the offensive side, let alone going back to Penn State where you run it 32 straight times and say, let's get this entire win. Are you still calling plays? And how have you developed as a play caller and as an offensive strategist, as we lose you, and you're back? How have you developed, do you think, to get to this point?
Yeah, as a play caller, haven't thought about, I've thought about, but going back and forth as far as the play calling piece. We'll appoint an OC here soon, and we'll talk about that. But as developing as a play caller, that's taken a long time. It hasn't just been this year. It's been years and years. I've got to sit alongside some really good play callers. Sean Watson when we were at Louisville with Teddy Bridgewater. Being around Kevin Wilson when he was at Oklahoma with Sam Bradford as a player. Being around Morse Watts when I was at Central Michigan, somebody that's been in the game for a long time. And then, Josh Gaddis here, Pep Hamilton here, Coach Harbaugh. Like, it's been something that it's allowed me to develop my own style. And, I mean, we have a phenomenal staff, so it's not just me. I'm just the one that pushes the go button on game day. But we've developed a great plan, and it's really all about our players and what they can do. And we've got really smart players, so we can do a lot and make it look like a lot, and sometimes it not be a lot. And I think our kids just believe in the plan and go attack our plan full throttle.
Yeah, I think it worked. I think it worked, Coach. Speaking of Coach, Chuck Pagano has a question for you, Sherrone.
Coach, congratulations on the job. Big fan of Michigan. My nephew Carlo Kemp played there. You probably know Carlo, obviously, but I know you've had some some transition there. I see where Jesse Minter is going to go with Jim over to L.A. Have you replaced Jesse? Is there a guy on the staff that you're going to elevate, and is the rest of your offense and defensive staff pretty much status quo, staying in place?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't replaced the defensive coordinator yet. We've got a few names and people in the boat to do that, and we've got a great staff. We got great people here on the staff that we're trying to keep. We're going to try to retain, and so the staff is starting to shape out bit by bit every day. And I think by next week or so, we'll have that in place.
Congrats on that. That's not easy, finding the right people that fit the culture. Speaking of that, Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Coach, obviously you want to find the Michigan men that you're looking for, and you just said earlier on, you coach hard and you love even harder, but when you're looking for those players, how do you know when a player can take that hard coaching? Because obviously now there's been talk about how it's difficult to coach guys hard because now there are options where they can leave and take other deals. So how do you find those players, and what characteristic do those guys have that others might not, that you look for specifically?
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things. That's a great question because I don't think, obviously you can't see that on film. You can't see that even in one conversation. It's building a deep relationship with the kid, with the coaches, with their families to see how they've been raised, how their parents raised them, how do the parents talk to them. There's a whole bunch of different factors. So there's not really one. It's very hard to pinpoint it. I think the relationship just has to really grow deep so you can figure out what type of kid he is. If he loves to be coached hard, if he wants to be coached hard, and then if he loves football. So we always tell guys, if you love football, you'll love playing here.
Whenever you hear the term Michigan man, and I think I saw in the parade you were asked about, like, hopefully one day I'll be able to earn the title of being a Michigan man. And then when I got to talk to Coach Harbaugh at the national championship, he said, whenever I'm dead and they throw dirt on me, well, dirt on the wood, I guess. He corrected himself. Yeah, he corrected himself. And then he said, if they say he was a damn good Michigan man, that'll be enough for me. I assume that's a big piece of your recruiting and trying to uphold the Michigan man title, I would assume, Coach?
Yeah, for sure. We want people that want to be Michigan men. It's a united front, a brotherhood, tough, blue collar, hardworking. that do everything the right way in any way possible for the person next to them. And it's a brotherhood that's really unbroken, and excited that hopefully one day I can be that.
Yeah, you are, pal. Okay. Anytime you got Saban's entire coaching staff going, we don't know what the hell they're doing in the Rose Bowl, I think you've earned that title immediately. Tone Diggs has a question for you, Coach.
Coach, I think you're known best for your O-lines. A couple Joe Moore award-winning O-lines, and then a top 2 O-line this year, I think, as far as the award goes, and that's kind of where you started. I assume as a head coach, you're going to continue to be. Is that where your focus is going to be? And I know there's a lot of turnover this year. So is that kind of a refreshing feeling that after the national championship and your first head coaching experience here with the team is going to be kind of some new blood on both sides?
Yeah, no, it's really exciting. We knew that we're going to have an influx of guys that leave the program, and we knew that we'd have a chance to be really good this year. You never know how good, but the players proved to be really good, and very excited about the guys we have behind them, and think we have a really good group behind them ready to go and ready to compete and ready to go and try to do it again.
Speaking of that, Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, Coach, obviously being the head coach at Michigan, there's going to be pressure no matter what. It's not like people expect you to only win, 6 games next year and it'll be all hunky-dory and that's okay. So do you feel like there is quite a bit more pressure, not only being your first year, but obviously coming off the national championship? Or is it one of those things where, hey, as long as you guys get the job done, and obviously if you continue to beat Ohio State, you're going to be a hero regardless. So, how much pressure do you just feel kind of internally, considering you guys are coming off, your first national championship in quite some time?
Yeah, try really not to look at the future too much and what's going to happen, and really focus on today, because you can't really control it. So trying to worry about and stress about what's going to happen next year or next game, it's not going to put us in a great position, program, me, to be to be where we need to be. So just really focusing on today, and that's it.
How'd you get into coaching? I don't think I did enough research on this entire thing. How'd you get into this whole gig?
Yeah, so I started at I was from Derby, went to Derby High School in Kansas, went to junior college at Butler County, shout out Bucco, and then went to Oklahoma. And really right after Oklahoma, I wanted to get into coaching. I knew I wanted to coach, and I jumped in. I became a graduate assistant the next year at the University of Louisville, and was there for 5 years, and was there my first year with Steve Kragthorpe, the next 4 with Charlie Strong, 2 as a GA, and then 2 as a tight end coach there, and then went from there.
From JUCO to the head man at Michigan. Let's go, Sherrone.
You can accomplish anything if you put your mind to it, apparently. If you go to JUCO, you can do that.
Hell yeah. And not just that, with the right mentality, you can accomplish absolutely anything. It sounds like you're finding guys that are going to do that for you at Michigan. Congrats on all the success. We're happy you're the guy. We're going to bring AJ Hawk back in here. I don't know if you know exactly how many lives you guys have ruined in Ohio the last 3 years, but here's one of them. Let's keep that going, Coach, all right? Let's keep that going.
Appreciate it. Much respect to you.
Hey, respect. We watched watching you guys play in person. I said multiple times, they got some dudes over there. You guys, especially offense, defense, you guys try to set the tone and you do it. So yeah, it was very impressive to watch. I wanted to ask about your strength coach, Ben Herbert. I know Coach Harbaugh, I guess, is taking him with him to the Chargers, and we know strength coaches spend so much time with your players and develop the guys. How big of a loss is that going to be, and what's the plan in place for strength and conditioning?
Yeah, I think anytime when you lose somebody that's been with you, he's been there since I've been there for 6 years, so he's definitely put his footprints and handprints on the program. But it's going to be a loss. But we think the guy that we elevated, Justin Tress, is going to do an unbelievable job. He's been with them side by side this whole time. He's had stints there. He had stints at Alabama, so he's seen really top-notch strength coaches in his time. So we're really excited about Justin Tress and the opportunity for him to lead the strength program. And those guys are awesome. That whole group he has, they all wear black. They all travel together. If you see one of them, you see all 5 of them. So we're excited about the future with those guys.
Hey, staying in-house seems to be the right play in this modern era, especially if you got a lot of great people in the building. Hiring is a difficult process. You're in the middle of all that. The way you describe your team, and I was never somebody that was going to be accepted to Michigan ever. okay, academically. And they were never going to say, you know what, let's go to Plumboro, Pennsylvania and get this guy into Michigan. But AJ, I think the reason why he said what he said was because as we were watching your team, hey, dogs, dude. Just like absolute dogs. And you say the first thing you're looking for is like blue-collar guys. Is there, just for me, as somebody that might not fully understand, is there a plethora of super smart blue-collar guys still out there in 2024 coming out of high school? That's a real question.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a plethora, but there's enough. There's enough out there that will do it, and we're going to go find them.
Yeah. All right, well, that's hope for society. I got hope for society then, Coach. We appreciate you. Good luck the rest of the way, pal.
All right, appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me.
Hey, congrats on the natty. Ladies and gentlemen, head coach of Michigan, Sherrone Moore.
Yay, Coach!
I was just thinking about that as he continued to describe his team. Like, we want blue-collar, because all you think of, no offense to Michigan, and you guys have had enough people speaking from your side on all different platforms and avenues because of how successful Michigan grads are and how loud they are about being Michigan people. So
just have one first hour.
Bingo, Schefter with this whole thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, my idea is like, and it's different, obviously, after you meet people. But without knowing anybody from Michigan, I'm like, yuppies, okay, soft, nepotism, handed everything. Yeah, they might be smart. Cool, you can read a book. Good. You're a puppet to other people's words. Sweet. But that is kind of my thoughts on what Michigan was. And then we go up there to, like, do college game day, and I get a chance to meet the people. I'm like, these people are actually pretty cool. These are actually pretty nice people.
Nice place.
I did not expect these people to be as nice as they are. And then you watch their football team, and it's like they're there to fight you.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like that was not my preconceived notion at all. So I apologize for that potentially being how I viewed it. But I don't think I'm the only person that kind of viewed Michigan that way. And what Harbaugh, Sherrone Moore, and that entire staff has done, I think, is represent how the school actually is, which is like, hey, this is a hard-working place. Yeah, we might be incredibly intelligent, but we get after it. And obviously they've reaped the benefits of it, beating Ohio State 3 straight years.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And winning a national championship.
In Columbus?
AJ, they're like, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
What? You might as well.
Well, everything that we thought about the Ohio State team is.
The old teams.
You know, like what I would have thought of like Ohio State, just my preconceived notion, is what that Michigan team was. Like super disciplined, very creative, physical football team. In the big moments, they showed up. It was like everything about their team took on an image, and he said it, like blue collar. Like, I did not expect that out of it. I love it. And they're hiring from within. It's like, we're going to keep this thing around there. Much different Michigan than what I thought it was before I knew anything about anything, AJ.
Yeah, and it also feels like this team, at least that we got to watch this year in person, they were like developed there. A lot of them were developed at Michigan. They came in, they had a lot of guys with experience playing. And there's a huge, there's something to that. And every team's trying to find a way with this whole NIL situation, how to win. Like, how do we bring in a couple of guys from the portal to plug them in? But I don't know. Like, there's all different ways to go about how you do it. But if you could build from within and kind of develop your dudes and go undefeated and win the national championship, I think that's the model I would like to do.
Yeah, I think we should all be trying to find that if we're not. But like the pride in Michigan, you know?
Yes.
Like some places have that, like the pride, but it feels like that is something that's disappearing in a lot of places because of the amount of contracts and money that's available in a lot of different schools. And I don't blame anybody for taking however they're getting life-changing money at a very young age, not only for themselves, their family and everything. You do what you got to do, but there is a ripple effect, a side effect to that. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And the pride in school, in program, is potentially one of the things that are kind of being lost in it all. Like, we didn't hear. When Alabama, Nick Saban retires and it's open, it's like, all we heard about is gone.
Yep.
Yeah. Like the Michigan guys, even the guys that didn't play and were like waiting for their time to play, they're like, we got pride in Michigan. This goes back to kind of what Bama was whenever they didn't make the college football playoff. They were playing in Cotton Bowl, maybe?
Yeah, Kansas State?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And number 1 overall pick played. Why? Because Alabama. Number 3 overall pick played. Why? Because Alabama. It's like pride in school. And if you can find that and develop that, that's going to win every time in the end, I do believe.
Absolutely. That was their identity. You know, having a nephew that played, for Jim, and Greg Madison coached him, recruited him. They've got the very best in everything. When I was out in 2018, I went to one of his home games. They were playing Penn State at home there. And everything that I saw was just the best of the best. The facilities, the coaches, the way they fed them, the way they, AJ's point, the way they developed them, academics. Like, guys don't miss class. They don't miss study hall. They just don't do that. And they're going to take a young kid, they're going to go in a home and they're going to tell them X, Y, and Z, and then they're going to follow through with it. And the ultimate thing is he's going to get coached. Like, everybody wants to go to the next level, right? They want to go to the NFL. They're going to get them there. And they're also, by the way, you're going to get a degree. You're going to be, what's that?
Michigan connections.
Oh. And then the connections are like sick.
Everywhere.
Like sick.
Yeah, if you play there and do well there, like J.J. McCarthy, okay? People are saying he's going to the NFL. He's going to be a first-round draft pick. Cool. I hope he does. Seems to be a winner.
Yes.
Okay, always has been. I think his record, high school and college, is the guy does win. But if he was not to, like something happens, can't throw a football
Gets
anymore,
hurt.
something happens there, it's like J.J. McCarthy good for what he did at Michigan forever. And those types of things are added benefits. So if you're recruiting people to become Michigan men, then whenever the transfer portal or the NIL and everything, that all of a sudden isn't even a part of the conversation anymore, because the main reason you're coming, and obviously there's money, but you wanted to do this. This is what we were here for. And you're going to lose people, and it's not going to work for everybody, but they seemingly have a machine built now.
Yeah.
And with the transfer and passing of the torch to Sherrone, passing a baton, which I think is how Harbaugh actually described it, they've seemingly done it seamlessly. And congrats to them. And boy, it sucks for Ohio State.
Yep.
You know, boy, it sucks for the team down south. And I think that's why you see Ryan Day and the boys, $13 million in there. We got to stop the bleeding here against a machine that's come up north. Is that how you're seeing it? Is that how you're seeing it as well?
No, I mean, I don't see anything of whatever they're doing. I don't know. Like, yeah, Ohio State's got to beat them, no matter what you have to do. But now Ohio State, it feels like they finally jumped into the NIL game like some other schools are. That's what they're doing.
All in.
Yeah, but what we're saying is I do believe it's mostly because the Michigan success has really...
Well, you got to win. Yeah, you could go undefeated. If you lose to Michigan every year, it doesn't matter. You're out of there.
I do appreciate that the Ohio State Buckeye fans tweeting to me and others, go look up the overall record Harbaugh has against Ohio State, please. Okay? Yeah, there's another Michigan coach that leaves Michigan a loser against Ohio State. I'm like, if that's how you're selling it to yourself, if that's how you view it,
good on you.
Okay, I appreciate that. I like the optimism and the love for Ohio State, but that fans' love for Ohio State is seemingly the love that all the players in Michigan's locker room have for Michigan and leading the way. And you think about Hutch. I mean, you think about Hutch.
Oh, yeah.
He was like the face of it.
Blue collar, but Michigan guy. He's like that
Pro-Seppers.
perfect person for that. I feel like.
And he's huge.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah.
And he's very fashionable.
Of course.
We know that about Hutch.
Yeah, it's hard to get blue collar and fashion normally in the same.
George Kittle's pulling it off.
Yeah.
Kelce.
Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
I didn't know George was fashion.
Hey, after our conversation yesterday with Travis Kelce, I think a lot more positive reaction than I thought there was going to be. Now, granted, when Schefter rips our video and posts it on his own thing, when he could just tweet the same exact video.
Thank you.
When he does that, and Connor was not happy, and Gumpy certainly threw his phone at one point whenever he saw it take place. Shefty, come on.
It's the exact same clip. I don't understand.
But like Schefter's followers are all NFL people looking for information. So it was actually nice to kind of go into his and see the reaction. There's people that hate Patrick and Travis.
Yes.
Like certainly people that hate that. But I think a lot more people, like I think were reminded, like Travis Kelce is just an Ohio, you know what I mean? Like he is a football guy at the end of the day.
Feels like he's still himself, doesn't he? Like that's what, in the face of all this, it could be easy for him to try to be all corporate and buttoned up and not try to mess anything up. But he feels like, watch him and his brother, watch him on here. He's the same Travis.
And I can't say this enough, just because we've seen it with not only us, but with a lot of people. A lot of easy money for him to potentially grab too if he just wants to act like a, you know?
Oh yeah.
If he just wants to just do this, like the amount of money that he could potentially profit from everything that's happening right now, and he said, we were going to run out there and get a 15-yarder on Justin Tucker. Like that's not like the perfect human image that he could easily just try to, like I appreciate that. And I'm very thankful he took time to join us. It was on Today's Show this morning.
That's cool.
Yeah, we're on Today's Show.
Katie Couric.
We've been on there a few times.
Nice.
Sweet.
We've been on there.
This one was for good news.
Katie Couric on there?
A little more positive.
What's that, pal?
Who's on there? Katie Couric? She's on the Today Show?
I thought so.
Hoda caught me.
1998.
Yeah, certainly.
Oh, she's old generation.
What were you guys on there for?
It's not Katie Couric.
Well, this time?
No, it's not.
This time you're talking about, or the previous like 4
What about
times?
last time? What about previous time?
Previous as well.
Yeah, not a lot.
We don't want to break
It wasn't.
AJ's lighter.
There was actually Kaylee Hartung. You know, she covers the Amazon Prime, and she's in the sports world. I think the last couple times that we've been mentioned on that show, she has had to go to bat for like our program. So we appreciate her doing that.
Love you, Kaylee.
Thank you for doing that. Because I think they were like, so this show.
What is this? Who are these guys?
Yeah, exactly. And she's like in the sports world, so she's let them know. Carson Daly has talked about us before. He's pronounced my name wrong, but now I think he's, we're off like 2 years ago.
On the drinking show with Blake?
No, see,
not Barmageddon.
I don't want to break any news, but I was potentially invited to go participate in that.
That's right.
But it was filming literally day before wife's expected due date. So wasn't able to do that. So I got a lot of love for everybody over there and everything. But yeah, they were talking positive about our program, which is good. Because we got a lot of answers about Tavis.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of answers about Tavis yesterday that I guess the world didn't know about.
Well, and I feel like that's why a lot of the stuff wasn't as negative, even though it was about Tavis. Is Gumpy does a great job like putting the quotes of what Kelce was saying in the stuff that he put as the captions of what he was saying. It was like, even if you didn't want to listen to the clip and you were just scrolling,
you can't
because like the stuff that he was saying as the quote, as the caption, was like, okay, if that's what this is about, let me actually listen to it. And people, a lot of the times, don't actually listen to what whoever's on the show.
There's still people saying, he can't on Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Like Aaron Rodgers Tuesday ended. Yeah, I mean, this is standard operating procedure that football ended, and there's still people that view that, especially after yesterday's conversation with Travis. You talked Tom Brady, Travis Kelce, huh?
Okay, Mr. Pfizer.
Look at you guys.
Wow, look at this guy.
Selling out for the mask.
Same exact thing as
Is this
every
a
single
football
year.
program?
You don't know.
This one?
Chuck.
Right, we talked to football. And we talked football players.
We do a lot of stuff.
He was awesome yesterday.
Travis?
Yeah.
Do you know him? Do you know him well?
No. That was a great interview.
He talked about being a fountain. Yeah, your socks are sweet.
full.
I have not seen your socks. They're just making a.
Oh, neat.
Look at you. Those are fun.
Yeah, those are neat.
Fun, Grandpa.
That's fun.
Those are fun socks, Chuck.
Who got you those? Bear?
You know, when I woke up yesterday, before I started to travel, and I was thinking about, I was watching Travis and, not half full, this all the way full.
Yeah.
I wanted to come in here as full as I could.
You did?
Because I've got an attitude of gratitude.
Hell
and
yeah.
I appreciate it for you guys and today. And
got
what
us
we
lunch,
have, right?
spot
And you
lunch.
mentioned,
Yeah.
like, you can, like, I used to have some players, like, did you wake up this morning with just the idea that you're going to come in here and try to make my life and everybody else's life miserable in this building?
Is that the
The
idea?
energy vampires that Saban always talks about?
Yeah.
There was dudes that was their mission. How can I ruin Chuck's day?
Was that Orlovsky? Was that Dan Orlovsky?
You never coached Dan. huh?
Never
bummer.
coached Big Dan.
The woe is me guys, like the bitter guys that woe is me.
I have it so bad.
Everyone knows a couple of them.
Well, and also, they're normally the people who are the most lucky, too. Like, hey, if you were to really start looking at your situation and everything, you're actually the most lucky person out of all the people. And now we're dealing with your bullshit more than all the people. You can start really singling in on, if we want to get better, who do we potentially... there, we all feel this? Yeah. Okay. I thought so. Yeah. And it's very obvious. Now, if you have a team that's filled with those, you're going to suck. That's just how it's going to be.
100%.
And it's hard to point out the ones. But if you're close to getting to like that elite great level, normally it's just identifying the couple that are, and then
It's being selfish. You're a selfish teammate. If you're one of those woe is me, bitter guys that complains about everything, it's a very selfish move.
no, remember they got it all figured out though.
Well, everyone's getting, you don't get screwed like I do. You should see what they're doing to me.
The feeling when you walk in to a locker room and that guy is no longer there, whoever that guy is, how awesome that is, AJ. You've been in locker rooms where oh my God, I got to see such and such today. I got to talk to this dude. I got to coach this dude. And then all of a sudden he's out.
Oh, man.
Yeah, what's it like as a coach?
I can wait to get
I
to
couldn't even imagine you guys.
Yeah.
The players
As a
are
teammate, it's one thing, but yeah, like as a coach, how do you handle that, Chuck? 'Cause you have to be a professional.
It's like in college, like Saban talks about the energy vampires. You spend 90% of your time on 10% of the population. Those few guys that are all the list guys. Didn't go to study hall, don't practice well, doesn't study, doesn't watch his iPad. He's a bad teammate. He's miserable. He didn't pick up after himself. And he's just, And when those guys get like,
you walk in, Chuck's showing up at work 20, 25 minutes early. All right, we're going in here.
Floating.
Yeah, it's not just you guys. The players feel the same way. Even the people that are potentially like in the same group as that player or know the same player, they all know that, boy, this whole building got better. So what we're trying to tell people is don't be that person. Nope. Right, AJ? Isn't that what we're trying to say?
Choice. Chuck said it's a choice, right? You got to make that choice, and you walk into that facility every day like, no, I'm lucky to be here. I'm going to be, not only am I going to be a positive influence, I'm going to hopefully make people around me happy to be here as well.
Hey, we're lucky to be alive.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I mean,
aliens could kill you tomorrow. You never know. You should be excited today.
Anybody could kill you tomorrow.
Yeah, you're right.
Not just aliens.
There's a lot of ways to die.
Yeah, but these are negative. Remember, we can befriend an alien tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
We cannot die tomorrow.
Karma is real, right?
Jeez, yes.
When you give back, like, just Travis, hey, Cole, give back, serve others. I mean, do good in this world. Why is my life so good?
Why is it getting better?
Why are things so good? Why are things why didn't I caught that pass?
And it doesn't have to be money or financial stuff.
No.
It's just like energy almost. And there's a documentary on Netflix, and I assume whoever did all the research is a doofus that we shouldn't listen to.
Sure.
And their opinion means nothing. But there's like some scientific thing.
Oh, yeah.
That if you put positive vibes into the universe, there's positive vibes coming back. Now, show me the data.
Of course.
You know, not going to be able to do that.
Analytics.
Hey, hippie, take it easy. Obviously, that whole thing. But I'm a firm believer in it. Always have been. And every once in a while, you got to tell somebody to go F themselves.
Yeah.
But overall, let's enjoy the hell out of the day.
Yeah.
Speaking of enjoying the hell out of the day, the quarterback for Alabama, as we stick in the college football world, was giving a speech at his camp, I believe, down in Alabama. And obviously a big topic of conversation for Alabama and Jaylen is the retiring of Nick Saban. Listen to this promo he cuts, and then I think it'll settle in even more why everybody seems to love that guy, and I assume DeBoer is pumped that he's still leading the program.
Yeah, I miss Coach Saban, 100%. I do miss Coach Saban. But he was a big reason why I came to Alabama. But to see him go is going to be tough on us. But we have to realize that Coach Saban is 28 years from being 100 years old. So, so we gotta let him retire in peace.
Okay. So
retire in peace.
You know, like this guy, 28 years away from being 100 years old. You know, maybe we talk about it. Love the mindset. That's the leader down there. And he's the guy who's going to decide whether or not they're able to continue to go or not, seemingly.
Yeah, I love where he's at right now because it was just the beginning of this season, right?
Yeah.
You talk about a difference in mindset and positivity. Like he starts, he gets benched, right? Nobody knows what his future is going to look like, right? The other two don't play well. He goes back in, gets another opportunity, realizes, okay, I need to take advantage of it, and look at what he's done for himself in that program.
Everybody loves him. You talk about being an energy giver.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
And a fountain.
Oh, yeah, smile.
Saban's been saying that since the beginning.
Yeah, he's like the most important player in possibly Alabama's history going forward because of what he has the capability to do. Like, he's the one that has to be the glue. Like, you guys talk about the locker room. Like, that guy is your locker room right there, and he's also your team. Like, the team goes as Jaylen Milroe goes. And the fact that he stayed, and that's what makes the Isaiah Bond stuff so weird, is that, like, hey, of course, like, new coach coming in has had a lot of success on offense, and, you know, the Washington, you know, stats of the three receivers having 100 yards averaging per game, and, you know, he's going to be the wide receiver. Like, that's what doesn't make any sense to me, because if your leader, your guy, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen Milroe without a smile on his face, even when he got benched. And that guy's staying. Like, why would some of the other guys leave? Doesn't really make sense to me.
Has to be business moves. Yeah. There has to be getting paid, and I think Texas paid them.
Oh, I assume.
And yours is there, and
if not yours, Archie.
We don't know what's going on.
But still, like in Alabama, I think there was a lot of decisions and conversations being had before people knew exactly who DeBoer was, I think. Yeah. Like, for instance, yesterday down at the Senior Bowl, there was a video that was shared burying Kalen DeBoer because people were like, oh, look at Kalen DeBoer. Michael Penix doesn't even want anything from this angle. He goes, oh, look at Penix swat him off. And the internet was cooking Kalen DeBoer.
Killing him.
Absolutely cooking him. Like, this guy loses Isaiah Bond, Caleb Dahns. He's supposed to be the guy that goes in there because he's Sioux Falls. Look at his dipshit. Pretty much. That's like everything everybody's saying about Kalen DeBoer, who just led the Washington Huskies to the national championship in his second year. Nobody really gave him any respect. And then we see the alternate angle, and it's like, no, he was getting out of the way so the guy could get a picture just with the other coach, and then he was welcomed back completely. It's like Kalen DeBoer has had to go through it right now.
Yeah.
He is going through it all, and it's going to happen whenever you're following Nick Saban. But I have firm belief, especially if Jaylen Milroe sticks around and continues to grow, and continues to play the way he is, Jaylen DeBoer is going to have success now.
Oh, yeah.
That is just
100%.
a matter of fact. And Sherrone Moore, after talking to him, getting to learn more about him, he's going to have massive success in Michigan. So congrats to two blue chip programs getting it right. Speaking of blue chip programs, let's go to the NFL. New DC in Green Bay, AJ. You're only the all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers. I assume whenever you're watching Green Bay Packers games, you're watching it through the eyes of a middle linebacker and through the linebacking core. Joe Barry, obviously a person of conversation on this particular program because Ty Schmidt was done with his shit all year, even though they put their best two games on tape, the last two games of the season. How do you feel about the hire of Hafley out of Boston College, and what do you think this means for the Packers team going forward?
I mean, people don't really know, and not a whole lot of people don't know Hafley that well. I know he spent a year at Ohio State, and I got to talk to him multiple times when he was there and stay in touch with him. He's an impressive dude. Now, everyone loves how aggressive he is, how aggressive his scheme is. Like, we're going to get up, we're going to bump and run, we're going to disrupt the routes, we're going to make sure we, take it to the offense. So, of course, that is what people would love to hear. And I think it'll be on him getting there and trying and really catering his scheme and what he does to the talent and the people they have on that roster. And seems like a good hire, man. It really does. I know, at least from the interactions I've had with him and guys that have played for him, they're all big fans and say he's a great coach.
Buddy, though, hiring somebody out of Boston College to people that don't do the immediate reaction was, oh, yeah, the Eagles, they're a good team. Of
course.
Yeah, Boston College, that's who we should be looking for to change.
We see this happen more coordinators in college taking – or head coach in college taking coordinator gigs in the NFL?
So allegedly, that is the narrative right now. And I asked Sherrone Moore about it because, the old guard of college football, or even maybe some of the newer guard of college football who are getting these opportunities or had these opportunities, are realizing what the world is and what the reality of the situation is. And all of a sudden they say, we get to the top of the mountain, but the view is nowhere near as good as we thought it was going to be. And Saban told us earlier in the year that the NFL lifestyle right now for coaches
little bit better.
Much better than what the college lifestyle is for coaches. So I assume that's going to provide a lot of opportunity for new coaches in college. But I think they should try to stop the bleeding a little bit to maybe make it a little bit more appetizing to remain in college football.
Well, think about it. I mean, he coaches and recruits his dick off, to develop these players and get these players into his program. And if you're a middle-tier Power 5 program like Boston College is, if any of these players turn out to be good, one of the top programs is going to come in and pay him much more money. So then all your work that you just did went right out the door. And then
you're a minor league team.
Yeah. Bingo.
Pretty much feeding the big schools. That's kind of how it's
Screw
set up.
that. I'm out of here.
Yeah, I can see how you wouldn't want to do that.
Always scraping by to try to get some more money as well. You're always
fundraising,
on whoever the groups are. Yeah, hey, you guys want to win more games. I need to help. I need some money to bring in some of these players. That's just what it is right now.
I think you embrace that.
You would have to.
You have to embrace that, because if you can go get a few, if you can go get a few of those dudes and develop them, and then somebody comes and gives them $1 million to go to Alabama, to go to Georgia, okay, I'm good with that. I just go get the other dude out of the portal.
That becomes your recruiting.
That's how I'm going to do it. And some teams are going to have the ability to build through the draft. The draft is high school, for colleges right now, and then get a chess piece here and there for needs, based on needs every year, right out of the portal. But guys like that, I'm good with that. If I'm a, what is it, FCS or FCS?
The 1AA is
I don't know.
FCS.
Yeah.
You know, so whatever, I'm doing that. I'm developing the crap out of that and saying, and then having a guy go here, a guy go there, and get paid.
How do you feel about all
NIL.
these coaches kind of bitching about the new state of college football? And they're not bitching publicly, but people are bitching for them, seemingly, behind closed doors, about how there's no regulations on anything. There's no standards for anything.
It's coming. They just got to weather the storm because they got the wild, wild west as it is right now. Everybody uses that way to describe it. They got to do something. And I think a guy like Hafley, who's been in the NFL, he spent time in the NFL. Most of the college guys that are there are going to stay because they haven't, experienced that lifestyle, that way of coaching. 5 weeks off in the summer, they just don't know any better. He's been there. He knows. So,
listen to the first thing he said.
Yeah. 5 weeks off.
5 weeks off in the summer.
like I was good for.
They don't know that.
Like 18 years, I was great. Because I didn't know any better. I loved recruiting, had my maps out. We didn't have GPS.
We know.
Yeah, of course. Barely had cars.
Yeah, and we know that thing started.
Come on, push it. Push it.
So you just, what you don't know, you don't know. So,
hey, what did you? How was recruiting out of Bedrock? Pretty good.
Yeah,
they had good players.
Right down the tail of Dino. Hit the wagon. Start big. Get those Fred Flintstones rolling.
Such a hack joke about you being an old man, but you are.
It's good.
And you're experienced. You know what I mean? It's not old. You're experienced. As we continue this beautiful, optimistic Thursday, Coach 'em Up Thursday, February 1st, 2024.
Was Chuck 10 years younger than Belichick too?
Is that what you are? What are you?
10 years older.
63.
Yeah.
Hey, they're hiring 63-year-olds.
Yeah.
Who benches more?
Come on.
Bill Belichick
I
benches
got
more.
no shot.
But I think on the Peloton cardio.
Please.
Bingo.
Bring it on.
Chuck owns them.
All right. Well, we'll be back tomorrow for a Feel Good Friday. We can't thank you enough for joining us. I think we got a huge guest. Oh, yeah, Jim Harbaugh. See that? 2 Michigan men, back-to-back days.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I don't know. AJ must be so fucking pissed right now.
Fuming.
He's shaking up there. The Michigan, there's been a couple Michigan football bloggers who've put together videos of all my picks from this year.
Nice.
And I did become a target of a lot of Michigan people on the internet.
You led them to the national championship.
Yeah, you tell them
They should thank you.
Yeah.
They should thank you.
That's what I'm saying. They weren't saying that.
Sorry.
They weren't saying that. None of them were actually saying that. Oh, what's your problem? Well, I kind of gave it away earlier, like my preconceived notions of what Michigan. I shouldn't view it that way.
No, it's changed. You've changed. You've
there are a lot of people that are under that description that you had earlier in the show.
So that's a Michigan State fan.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
As I was talking, Foxy was back there like,
Yeah.
And then I said, I got up there, I got met these people, they were cool, and Foxy was like, yeah, it's not.
But I will say that the pride thing for that school, what you said was spot on, because they didn't have that pride for a lot of years, and that's when Ohio State and Michigan State was kicking their ass. Then they hired Harbaugh, and Harbaugh restored that whole thing. So it was spot on.
And Michigan's such like a powerhouse that even like the smaller schools in Michigan where those blue collar people do go, like they're still Michigan fans. It feels like we met one of Foxy's friends.
Yes,
great dude. Didn't actually go to Michigan.
Remember the first thing he said to me?
What was it?
You haven't picked us one time.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's the first. He was holding a drink.
Yep.
I assume it wasn't the first he had that day.
No.
He's friends with Foxy. We know anything about that.
Mm-hmm.
Foxy's family attracts booze bags,
of course.
But he
makes them.
I literally showed up. I shake his hand. He has a Michigan thing on, and Foxy's like, "This is my buddy." Blah blah blah. You haven't picked us one time. I'm like, all right.
Sorry
about it. Yeah, I thought Rutgers was going to beat you guys. They had you in the first drive.
I think we had a kid in the office who didn't go there who's a huge fan.
Yeah, he's had quite a year this year. We learned very late into the college football season that he's a huge Michigan fan.
I thought we were talking about Tone.
Yeah.
It was grinding on Thamel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was Tone, too.
That is exactly who we're talking about.
I think earlier, Pat, you summed it up well. It is lunch pail grit, Michigan development against pay-to-play Ryan Day. And
Bruce
Guy's the worst.
All right.
I mean, most of their linemen were transfers in, but
Bruce got pretty boosed up after the national championship and won over to old Buckeye Pete. And,
should I send it in? Because I just watched it last night.
No.
It's my favorite video.
We don't need to watch from that lobby.
Okay.
I mean,
What are you doing, Bruce? Doubling down.
it's one of the most awkward things I've ever seen in my
Connor,
life.
you told me to do it.
That's not. You said, should I? And I said,
no. It was your idea.
It's like AAA.
It was your idea.
Hey,
classic Michigan man blaming someone else.
Check over there.
No, that's not Michigan man.
That one is.
Anyways, Chuck, that lobby after the national championship was filled with characters. And Bruce was the biggest one out of all.
Bingo.
It
something.
was great to see. Booze Bruce is awesome.
Yeah.
Booze,
sometimes.
Booze Bruce is vastly different than day-to-day Bruce. I enjoy Booze Bruce. I just get to watch it in spurts, I guess. You guys are around it a lot. I enjoy the shit out of Bruce.
No, he's a great time. I'm not saying that at all. He's awesome, Boozy Bruce. But there are times, and I think Boozy Bruce would admit this, when maybe, he should hop in that Uber home.
I've heard him say, though, I'm doing too much.
Yeah, exactly. So he's also very self-aware with it, too.
He got to experience a national championship this year. All those Michigan people did, and they were enjoying it. They deserve it, man.
Absolutely.
Been a long time.
Long season, too.
Desmond Howard flying high, going into that national championship. Rich Eisen, boom, loving life. Charles Wood,
Schefter.
Everybody. Schefter, like all these Michigan people, like Rich Eisen would open Sunday's game day morning, NFL game day show, with like his feet on the fucking desk, M's on the bottom of his shoes. Like, how we doing today, boys? Like, just all the way back, That type of pride, I think, is a beautiful thing.
They've been waiting so long for that.
So long.
And I'm so happy for the people that are Michigan and Detroit Lions fans, because that was the greatest football season in the state of Michigan ever for those people.
Not a lot of schools have that.
No.
And college football has that more than any other sport in America, But, like, that's a beautiful thing. The obsession, the connection.
That's what makes college sports, especially college football, that's what makes it different and special, I think.
Agreed. And that's why, like, doing game day these last couple years and getting a chance to experience. I'm from Pittsburgh, so let's go Pens and let's go Steelers and NFL town. The University of Pittsburgh is obviously there and has created a lot of greats. And Pittsburgh has its fingerprints all over football. I understand that, but that's an NFL town. Like, that is what it is. So I didn't really get into college ball much. That isn't something I've known. So then getting a chance to, like, experience it and see it, it's like, these motherfuckers would actually die right now for this place. Like, on the spot right now, will you take a bullet for them to win a national championship? They'd be like, if my father and my father's father are going to see a championship here and my kids are going to see it, yeah, you know what? Shoot me right in the fucking head. Like, that is, they actually have that type of.
I have family members like that for Ohio State. Absolutely.
It's awesome. Like, that is a beautiful thing that I hope stays.
Yeah.
I hope that stays, because they're talking about how much college football is changing. That has to remain, because that is what makes college football the field. Football is a great sport, 1,000,000%. But that type of passion and pageantry is like why college football is so damn special and so remarkable. It's like, I hope that never leaves. I do. I hope that never, ever leaves.
Well, and like AJ just said it, and like we were able to watch it all year. Like, the SEC is different. That's the saying, and it absolutely is. But like watching Ty with Iowa,
Big Ten's close.
The Big Ten is right there. In Michigan, we're just talking about Michigan. Like, as long as the Big Ten and the SEC don't change, like, I think college football is going to be fine forever.
Handful of Big 12 schools that are like that.
Yeah, West Virginia, obviously, but the two most bingo. Welcome to West Virginia's conference, the Big 12. But Texas and Oklahoma, I think a lot of people would say,
they're absolutely,
and they're now in the SEC. So it's like, it feels like we are going to have the schools that are going to keep it alive and everything. But what does it look like?
Seems like it's going to be the SEC and the Big Ten, really, right?
It is.
Well, and the Big 12, obviously, because West Virginia.
And the Big 10, the Big 12 will pull in.
Yeah, of course.
How many
But
teams
you
in the
guys
Big
got
12
to
now?
experience the Rose
16.
Bowl, right?
Yes.
That was my first year in coaching in 1984 as a G at SC. I go to SC, we win the Pac-10, go to the Rose Bowl,
Pac-10,
beat Ohio State, and you talk about college football, the pageantry, the Coliseum, the Rose Bowl. I mean,
it was beautiful.
Nothing like it. And then to be able
Herbie on
to
that
coach
team?
at Miami.
Was Herbstreit on that team that you guys played against?
It was Tom Zach was Keith Byers was
Mike
the running
Tomczak?
back. Mike Tom Zach
Herbie
was
played
the
in
quarterback.
87, I know, so he could have been young.
This was 84,
Could have been a
85
freshman,
season.
maybe.
College is awesome.
But then going to Miami and being a part of that team in 86, we won every game, went to the Fiesta Bowl, fatigues. That was
that was the
Chuck, you
prime
lost
era.
that one.
That's awesome.
that was like Jerome Brown, the late, rest in peace, late Jerome Brown.
Rest in peace.
Unbelievable. Get up there and, that whole
Highsmith,
speech.
was Alonzo there?
Lonzo Highsmith, Bell Bratton.
So, AJ, growing up Ohio, obviously you're football, but like college football was, because I got pulled over in Ohio a week after I got arrested for public intoxication. I had an Escalade on 24s driving back to Pittsburgh because I wasn't allowed in the building. So They profiled me. They pulled me over because of the car I was driving on 70, and it was a full thing. I mean, get out of the car, the whole, we got a tip that a black SUV was coming through here with blah, 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 okay? And as I'm sitting on the side of the road, have you ever been arrested before? Yeah. When? Last week. Real excited. You know, they get real excited. What you get arrested for? I was like, public intoxication. Where? Indianapolis. Why are you in Indianapolis? It's where I work. Okay. So if we look this all up, you're going to be telling the truth? Yeah. All right, well, sit right here. Well, I can't fucking go anywhere. You got 10 cops around me right now. It was a scene. Like, it was not good. Like, everything that was on there. So cop goes into car. I see him actually, and I see him look at it and go, oh. Then he comes out and he goes, if you were a Buckeye, we would have just drove you home. And I was like, thank you. Fucking, where were you last week or whatever? And then they immediately like, do you want us to get you to the county to make up for lost time here? I'm like, I would just like you to leave me the fuck alone. If that's okay as I get back on the road. But it like, in that moment there with those cops, it was like, if you were a Buckeye, like that's how they view it. In Pittsburgh, now I'm not saying any Steelers have ever got off, but it would be like, if you were a Steeler, like potentially back in the day what happened. In Ohio, it's college ball, right? That is kind of what you're
definitely college ball. I mean, Joe Burrow has done a lot for the Cincinnati Bengals, and obviously the Browns as well are better. So, but yeah, it's Ohio State is the one. We always heard stories about that where back like in the 70s, guys would get in a fight on High Street or whatever, and the cops would take 2 or 3 of the players and drive them to Woody Hayes' house and wake Woody up, and then Woody would make them run for 15 straight hours, but they wouldn't get arrested.
Yeah, hey, Woody will punch them worse than we would. Let's go throw
That's
rocks.
old school. It's like a movie. Yeah.
Let's go throw rocks. It's not like that anywhere anymore, but just them saying that made me be like, oh, Ohio is, it's just Buckeyes.
Football.
That is what it is, even though there is NFL teams, obviously.
Yeah.
And they're pulling for the NFL teams to do well. At the end of the day, if you're born in Ohio, it's Buckeyes. Like in the South, if you're born into an Auburn family, like you're War Eagle for the rest of your life, that's beautiful. Let's get to a break. This last hour is going to be big.
Banger.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited for this. There's a lot of things we haven't talked about that aren't happening in football, but also things that are happening in football. Bobby Slowick potentially going to the Commanders, right? Offense coordinator for the Houston Texans. Well, obviously not now that Dan Quinn gets a job. Just re-signed another deal with Houston.
Okay.
What's that mean for C.J. Stroud going forward with an electrifying first year? MCDC had some chatter. Joe Mazzulla of the Celtics talked about Kendrick Perkins. There's something going on with like humanoids.
Yep.
That's right.
There's a lot to talk about.
Yep.
Okay? The humanoids thing is a little bit worrisome.
A little bit.
Come
Good
around.
piece. I'm intrigued by what this humanoid situation is.
All right, we'll dive into sports and humanoids, and then we'll wrap up this glorious Coach 'em Up Thursday. Chuck's got some real shit about the Super Bowl matchup, too, that we haven't talked about. Can't wait to hear that. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. We're in this thing together. Take 5!
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another week of Undercover Dogs. Our championship dogs, NFC and AFC.
He's an undercover dog. He's an undercover dog for sure.
My first undercover dog is Malcolm Rodriguez. He had 5 solo tackles, 1 assist, and an interception. He play on defense, offense. He can play any position that the Lions need him to play, even special teams. My second undercover dog is Jair Brown. He's a rookie. He had 10 tackles this week, 5 solos, 5 assists, had his season high this week. He was named to the Pro Football Writers of America All-Rookie Team. My third undercover dog is Drew Tranquil, linebacker for the Chiefs. He had 8 tackles, ended up with 9 total in all. This will be his first Super Bowl playing in. This guy sets the tone on defense. You can see how fast he's playing. It's been a hell of a year with the undercover dog. Hey, people, help me. Hashtag undercover dog. We coming back after Super Bowl with our top 5 dogs of the year.
He's an undercover dog. He's an undercover dog for sure.
Let me tell you a little story about these statistics. Troy Polamalu, okay? Fucking Troy Polamalu. So we had a fake for the Pittsburgh Steelers that was a 100%er. We didn't even have a cancel the goddamn play because it was a 100%er. If we ever end up in this situation, inside the 7-yard line on the left hash, it is a 100%er that the C gap will be wide open and we will just part the C to the left. It'll be a touchdown. 100%er. We're playing in Pittsburgh, the city I grew up in. I grew up in Pittsburgh. I won the punt, pass, and kick national championship, AJ. National championship, AJ.
Congrats.
AJ, did you ever win the national championship, punt, pass, and kick?
I think I got 3rd or 4th out of 4 at the Nationals.
I'm proud of you, man. Anyways, so we're there in that stadium, okay? A lot of McAfee's in there. A lot of McAfee's in Pittsburgh. I'm going to score my first fucking touchdown, night game, Sunday Night Football, I believe it was, right here, touchdown. We get into that situation, and I'm like, holy fuck, this is really going to happen. We're like on the 6, on the left hash. It's 4th and goal now. Field goal team's jogging on. I'm like, well, fuck, it's about to, I'm ready. I am ready for this to happen. So I get out there. I get down. Vinny's like happy for me. Vinny's like very excited. He's like, let's fucking go. Like Vinny's excited for me at this moment. I'm like, here we go. So I make the call. I forget what it was. So I start saying it, right? And everybody's looking at me like, okay, bright eyes. Here we go. Let's get after it. Offensive linemen are dead ass tired. They do not want to be in the middle of a field goal anyways. So they're just like, all right, I don't give a fuck if you die here, but this should work. Let's get some points. And all of a sudden, I go through my cadence, I call it, I get down, and Troy Polamalu's fucking ass goes ahead for however long his career was at this point. I think it was like 9 years or 8 years at this point. Not a once has he ever gone to this side of the field over here to the left and stood right in the C gap. Never. He lined up exactly where he had lined in film 100% of the time. And then as soon as I got to like the second cadence right before set, he just bounced his little ass right over to the C gap. And I like stopped everything I was doing. And I literally just looked at him and I gave him like what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, why are you there right now? And then I stood up and said, we are kicking it. We have to kick it. We are kicking this. And then I get down, and Vinatieri kicks it, and I jog off the field, and Chuck Pagano comes running up next to me. He's like, hey, good job. What you see? I said, what did I see? Polamalu just fucking went right into the goddamn C-gap. What did I see? What did I see? And he goes, okay, sounds good. Good call then. And good call then. And then Vinatieri's like, hey, way to go, buddy. I'm like, way to go? Are we not going to talk about how big of a fucking asshole Troy Polamalu is for what just happened right there? So that's.
I saw the angel of death waiting for me in the C gap.
It's unbelievable. What, you thought I was going to run him over? No way. He's probably going to strip me and score a touchdown the other fucking. That's Polamalu, bro. That ain't just your backyard football with your son. These are professional fucking athletes. He'd probably jump over the lineman, pick me up, and run me into the other fucking end zone if he wanted to. That's what he would have done.
The hard-hitting safety of his generation, too. I mean, Ed Reed, great cover safety. I don't know that you would have feared him, but
Ed Reed, I would have feared Ed Reed. Yeah, if I saw Ed Reed in that C-gap, absolutely. Reed, boy, the best safety you ever seen, boy. I ain't doing shit to Ed Reed.
No, Ed Reed would have made the tackle. I'm saying that Polamalu would have shaved years off your life.
Oh, my God.
Why? Let's go!
This show sticks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for. Ah! The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, you pig! Stop! Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life. Sport! Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Coach 'em Up Thursday, February 1st, 2024. Hour 3 of the program starts now. football is wonderful. That's AJ Hawk. The Talks the Tables here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. One half of the hammer. Dahn. Cowboys Tone Diggs is here. You're looking thin, Tone.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You too.
Are those mediums?
No.
That's a medium.
There's a large. If I ever
It's baggy, isn't it?
If I ever get to a medium, just throw me off a bridge, okay?
Well, I don't know how to say this to you, but we might need to go bridge searching because that looks like a baggy large. You're in Ohio, AJ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think he could go down to a medium. I think
He could absolutely. He might. I mean, if there was a largest small, you might even be able to squeeze into that one. You look good, Tom.
Nice.
Hey, it's medium, I think, is what he's talking about.
I'm 200.0. If I go below that, throw me off a bridge, okay?
Oh.
I'm an adult male, okay?
So?
Is that a Viore?
Chuck's 80 pounds.
I don't know. Is that a
Viore,
No, I'm
Lulu?
not fancy like you, Chuck.
You are small.
No, I mean, the way you look, as fit as you look,
All right.
watching you
Fancy
walk
hat.
away from me, I sit in the back with you look amazing.
28-year NFL coach.
36.
Jesus.
Whoa.
NFL 28.
Why are you-
18 in college.
18 in the NFL.
Why are you
Wrong
trying to,
across all board.
Why are you trying to move on, Tony?
It's because he's wearing mediums now.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Tone, this is a good thing. We're proud of
The
you.
fancy hat you have, too. Don't
Yeah.
say
Medium
Fancy
Tony. Watch
clothes.
on. Hey, look at you.
Fancy
Hey,
Tony.
Tony.
Fancy fit tone.
Don't you?
Anthem, medium de Julia. Yeah. Oh, no.
Size down to Julio.
I'm backed in a corner. I'm going to start lashing out. Wait, I don't want this.
Yeah, well, we are not putting you in a corner. We're putting you on a pedestal. aren't we?
Amen.
I don't want to
we
be
are.
there. Nobody should be there.
Proud of you, Tone.
Let
Love you, Tony.
Compliments,
Tony.
Tony.
Look
Be
good.
positive.
Love
There
you,
go,
Tone.
Let's go, Tony.
Does he do
Tony.
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 Look at you, Tone.
Tony.
Yeah. Hey, Tony.
Tony Diggs Thursday.
I almost messed up. I didn't do it, though. So.
Yeah, he wants to say something about me. I can
No,
tell.
not you.
Oh, yeah. Good call. Good call.
What? I don't know.
Well, he was going to deflect to something. He does have a trump card in the back pocket.
I do.
Oh, play it.
That would certainly put us all in an interesting spot,
Play
especially
it.
because on this particular date, we will visit it later for sure. 36 years as a football coach, 18 in college, 18 in the NFL. Chuck Pagano is here.
Hey,
Chuck, we talked about you previewing the Super Bowl coming up here, and I think what everybody would love to hear from a man who was such a defensive talent, defense coordinator, became a head coach because of how long and how great you were on the defensive side of the ball. And when we talk about these two teams, we're talking about two stud defenses. Have to have a championship defense to obviously win it all. This Chiefs team, we'll start there with Spags. Have they been doing anything different this year than they have in years past? How long have they been this dominant? And what do you think the keys are for Spags to get a win over this machine-like offense that the Niners have?
Yeah, Spags has been doing it at a high level for a long time. I mean, he won Super Bowls in New York, right? The Giants.
That's a long time ago. Yeah.
2007.
As a DC, the plan that he put together versus the Ravens last week, like if you really stop and dissect that thing, Orlovsky said he called the game like an offensive coordinator, if you remember, right? He had all these different. So he used base defense, he used sub defense, he used dime defense. He had a 3-2 package. So he gave them a bunch of looks, and what he's known for is like double mug stuff. Both backers walked up in the A gaps, 2-3 techniques, 2 wide ends, and then a lot of zone pressures. Did none of that. So I expect something totally different out of Spags versus the 49ers come Super Bowl Sunday.
How do they stop this 49ers team? Because they're so they just feel like a machine, right? And when they turn on, they turn on. Now against Packers, they were off.
Yeah.
It was very wet. Then again, against the Lions, it seemed like they weren't going to be able to get going, and then they turn it on and they're unstoppable. What does Spags need to do to get a dub over the Niners D?
First and
or
foremost,
Niners offense, sorry.
CMC. It all starts with him. You're not going to shut him down totally, but you got to limit him. You can't let him free release out of the backfield. You got to get hands on him. We used to call it a BAM call, defensive end that's rushing. He starts to swing, release, get hands on him, try to help whoever's in coverage on, man to man on him. And then I think you got to be a great tackling defense. You have to stay, because they're going to make throws, they're going to make catches. Purdy's playing at an unbelievable level right now. He's got, Ayuk, he's got Debo, he's got Kittle, he's got all these weapons, right? They're going to make plays, but you got to limit the explosives, the run after catch, the yards after contact, all those kind of things. Make them go the long, hard way, and then through the playoffs and in the regular season, they're top 3 in red zone offense, the 49ers are. So they're going to have to play really good in the red zone. You're going to have to try to force field goals. Eliminate TDs, force field goals down there. it's going to be a heck of a challenge.
So what is Spags doing? Spags already has everything in that they already need. They're just picking and choosing what they think is best fit for the Niners here?
He's got a plethora of defense. So you do self-scout. You go back and say, okay, what have we not shown in recent weeks? Super Bowl's different because you got more time as a coach. You're going to go evaluate the whole season everywhere. You're going to look at he's faced this type of West Coast offense. He's faced Shanahan's offense. What did he do in the past? What do we anticipate? You got a lot of time, so you don't want to give him too much because you have extra time, because you don't want to ankle weight the players. You don't want to bog them down. You want them to play fast. You don't want them out there thinking. But he's got playmakers at all three levels. He talked about last week after last week's game, the football intelligence of his defensive guys. He said, usually have one or two guys like are really, really bright. You got a guy like AJ, wears the green dot, makes all the calls, identifies, those type. He's got a defense full of those guys. You don't see guys running wide open. You don't see blitz patterns where you got two guys in the same gap. You don't have contain. You got freebie over here, and then we don't have a guy, oh, by the way, putting an edge on the other side of the opposite of the pressure. So he's got high IQ. He's got players that love ball. He's got players that can think, they can communicate. They're going to be on the same page.
Right.
This week they'll put the stuff in, because once you get to the venue, it's just like detail and fine-tuning. There's so much stuff going on at the Super Bowl.
So whenever you think about Spags and the success that he's had, and he talks about the football IQ, I think D-Butt said, because the way he described it is normally every team has one guy who doesn't know, I think is the way he said. D-Butt was like, normally it's like 4 to 5, 6 different guys. Would you put that as a priority over potential, like if a guy runs 4.3, no idea, 4.4, knows everything? Like, why do you think Veach has been able to find guys at seemingly every position with a high football IQ and not sacrifice any skill seemingly? Why doesn't everybody just do that? Why did everybody just do that, Chuck? Why don't the Colts do that? Did we do that?
Yeah.
We know why the Colts don't do it. They haven't even paid.
Why doesn't everybody just get smart players, though?
I think everybody's goal is to go find guys with high football IQs.
They just happened to do it this year with the Kansas City Chiefs defense.
I think there's been continuity. I know they got some young guys. They've got some old guys. They've hit on, I think Tranquil was a free agent, right? Been there 1 year.
Yep.
So he fit right in. And you talk to these guys, you evaluate them, you watch their tape, and you see their skill set. And then you sit down and you talk ball. You have a conversation with them and figure out, okay, yeah, this guy gets ball. He knows what's going on. He'll be perfect in our system.
He knows why, and obviously 90 there tore his ACL later in this game, which is a damn shame. And I think everybody sang his praises afterwards, so that's not good for the Spags defense. But we assume with the way they built up that defense, somebody else will come in and make some big plays for them. It's a beautiful thing. They've become the most well-rounded they've been since the start of this entire dynasty.
Yeah, for Spags, do you think he goes back to Ravens-Niners and he's like, all right, this was probably the most successful a defense was against the complete Niners offense? Like, is that right where he goes to right away, or is he first look at how they match up on defense with the Niners offense?
I think there's certain parts of it. As a base defense, he's an overfront. He's not a 3-4 like Macdonald and the Ravens are. So on
overfront means?
So you got 4 down, 3 linebackers, which they play with. If you're in 21 or 12 personnel, which 49ers are going to be in, you can play your base defense.
Does that help them because they can just be in?
No,
base?
he can see what was effective and I think what they get more is the pressure stuff, because Macdonald will go to out of the 3-4 versus 11 personnel, 1 back, 1 tight end, 3 wides. You're going to get everybody's pretty much 4 down, especially on first and second and run situations versus 11. But then third down, he's going to say, okay, they ran some double mug stuff. They ran some zone pressures. They showed here. Try to get the mic point going one way, right? Okay, it's coming from over here. Oh, no, it's not. Spin the safety back this way. Bring the pressure here. Try to get a free runner. Because Purdy, again, he's obviously can process. He can see. He can pick things out. Try to check his oil. See if he can pick up some of these pressures. See if they have a side on. See if they have a hot on.
Easy.
Well, just seeing if he's full or not.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what he's checking along.
All right. Do you agree with Peyton? Do you think Peyton said he thought it was going to be a very high-scoring game? Do you think that's the case?
Everybody's moved the ball in the Niners. They've moved the ball. They've given up. I mean,
so let's talk about the Niners.
They had 148 yards. Detroit had 148 yards on 21 rushes in the first half of that game. They came out in the third quarter after they went down and got a field goal. They started running with Montgomery. They had 5. They had 7. They had 8. They get to a fourth down, they have a drop, they don't get it, they don't convert, and the rest is history. But they've run the ball. Green Bay moved the ball up and down.
So what do you
the
think the Niners defense has to do here against the Kansas City Chiefs? Obviously, you would say all eyes on Travis Kelce.
Absolutely.
But you're saying the run game.
It's got to start with the run. You always go and say stop the run.
Why is theirs not been able to?
Because they have all the dogs everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Who's that? Who's
the Niners run D? And is it too much because they have the D linemen who love getting after the quarterback? A lot of 49ers fans coming after Chase Young a lot lately.
Oh boy,
a lot.
Killed. He's getting,
be disciplined.
You have to be consistent with your technique, and you have to be consistent with your effort. And you can find spots on tape where he's not. So interior guys, Hargrave and Armstead, it's like hit it and get it. They're penetrating. They're getting up the field. Gus Bradley, like you think about Buckner and Stewart, what they do, they don't play technique. They penetrate and they try to disrupt and then let fast linebackers try to run everything down. That's what happens. And so when you have guys that penetrate, AJ played behind maybe guys that did this, but if you have guys that are just penetrating and you play a good zone team, like 49ers, they're gonna run zone schemes. We call it getting one hold or two hold. Remember last year during Coach P's key, we talked about getting two hold and three hold. Nobody likes to get three hold.
No.
Some people probably.
But like if I'm like a three technique,
change the terminology.
If I'm a three technique with the outside shade of the guard, right?
Okay.
And I'm supposed to have the B gap in the run game.
Okay.
Well, if I just run up the field and I get cut off and I get cut out of that gap, and the linebacker's supposed to be in the A gap to that side. If I get cut out, there's a vertical inside run lane that's wide open. And so if you get cut out and then the guards, you don't command double teams. AQ always talks about 22 and 23 duel, right?
Yep.
Okay, 4 hands on the down lineman.
Yep.
Okay, and 4 eyes on the linebackers. So they're doubling the shade, they're doubling the three technique, and then they're going to work up to the linebackers. Well, if you don't have to stay on those doubles because you got him two-hold, the tackle cuts off the three technique, and he's in Warner's face, and he's in
you got blockers at the next level.
So you got blockers at the next level, and then it's Katie bar the door, and they're giving up 159 yards a game through the playoffs.
And Pacheco, with the way he's been playing,
exactly.
They've been feeding him 20 times a game too. It's like Andy Reid will stay seemingly committed to the run as well when other teams maybe haven't against his Niners.
And you've seen people run crack toss, right, and have success on it. Most teams, those outside linebackers like Bosa and Chase Young play with their hand in the dirt. So when they get down, right, and there's a blocker right here,
crack them with the receiver
right here. So a 150-pound wide receiver just does this, and they pin them, and they're out of the play. Next thing you got Trent Witt, you got all these these linemen, these offensive tackles for KC. They're running these truck plays, and they're big guys on those little corners, and you can't cut them linemen anymore. They don't ever see it. You're standing up as a 3-4 outside linebacker. You're filling that guy right there. You see the top. You play right into that dude. They don't see it. They just get pinned, washed down the line of scrimmage, and balls down the sideline.
Here's the.
This is the Chase Young play that 49ers fans basically want him cut because of.
Yeah, not only because of the beginning, but right there at the end as well with the old left hand out and all that type of stuff.
No layout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
It was more just the pursuit to the ball. I think people have.
Yeah, and the effort at the end. I mean, jogging, and then I'm trying. Yeah, I mean, this is the playoffs, baby. This is NFC Championship game. They talk about the speed of everything heightening. I think the speed gets higher because everybody's selling out on every single play as opposed to maybe holding for the next one. So whenever you see somebody not doing it, you start to wonder what the hell's going on. We assume that'll get fixed for Super Bowl.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it wasn't just him. I mean, the Packers were running that crack toss right at Bosa all night, and the same deal, just taking him out of the play. But how imperative is it that the 49ers start fast? Because if they concede 17 points for the Chiefs, it doesn't seem like the Chiefs are the kind of team that are going to let that, especially with the way Pacheco's been running. Like, they're not the young Packers and the young Lions. Like, if the Chiefs get out to a 17-point lead, it seems like they'll be able to kind of weather.
And how come teams don't start fast?
Yeah, I mean,
especially the Niners,
they're scratching their heads, especially them. These last 2 playoff games, they certainly know how to finish. They certainly know how to play in the fourth quarter. But digging themselves a hole, to your point, if they dig themselves a hole against Kansas City, they're gonna just chew the clock up. Yum, 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 yum. Hand it to Pacheco.
They don't give up points in the second.
Little throw to Kelce here, Rashee Rice, and they're not going to give the ball up. And before you know it, you got no possessions left to catch up. And you got Pat Mahomes, the greatest quarterback of this era right now.
He's on Mount Rushmore, yeah, of your Mount Rushmore quarterbacks, has to be. Some of you olds, though, don't put him on there.
Yeah, I figured.
Some of the olds.
Tarkenton.
AFC Championship every game he's been start, right?
Yeah.
Six straight for Andy Reid.
Yeah, six straight.
4 out of the last 5 Super Bowls.
Chiefs are giving up 7 points in the second half this year, averaging.
Giving up 7 points in the second half.
Yeah,
So
he's
Spags
only given up 3 points in the fourth quarter in 3 playoff games. Spags. So
This is a completely different
like,
Chiefs team. This is not the Chiefs team that is normally chatted about, though. I think that's why people maybe underestimate the Chiefs because, like, they have a dominant defense right now, and they're playing like it on the offensive side of the ball.
And you're not going to gash. I mean, they'll have some plays against them.
Chuck, what do you think? I hear a lot of pundits saying that the Niners are going to line up in big people and try to pound the ball on the Chiefs. Do you think that's going to be the case?
Well, I think what that'll do, if you get 2 tight ends and 3 tight ends, 12 and 13 personnel, you can keep them in base defense and keep them out of those other fronts and pressures that they like to do in third and long situations. So if you want to just see base defense and you want to go against that look and you feel like you're going to have more success, then stay in 21, stay in 12, stay in 13 personnel, and pound the rock like that.
Well, they will. The Niners do that. I mean, Juszczyk, obviously, they got big Christian McCaffrey will run in between the tackles. They'll move Trent Williams.
They can definitely do that. And then you can do some tempo. Like guys get tired. Like Chris Jones goes, and then when he gets tired, but you go tempo, you can keep people from subbing. You get right back on the ball. You can't get guys in and out of the game.
Take your shots, too, while their D-line and D-ends are tired. That's when you take your shots downfield.
Was it earlier in the year whenever we saw the team actually plan for was it Bosa or was it Myles Garrett? I forget who it was.
They're going to take shots.
We saw inside the NFL mic'd up where quarterback, offense coordinator, and head coach were literally just running an offense to get the defensive end off the field and then, okay, now, hey, off the field here. Off the field, let's take some shots. And then also they ran hurry up to keep off the field. It's like you're actually playing against some players. Bosa's obviously one of them with the way he's played over the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
What a dog, dude. Him talking to Purdy, we have the video. Nick Bosa and Brock Purdy chit-chatting after the game, after winning the NFC Championship, is a hilarious thing for some people to see, probably for the first time.
So the fact that you just are doing this blows my mind. All of us, bro. All of us. It's crazy. Did you think you'd be this good? I think I've asked you this before. I know, but did you, how much confidence did you have? Because I was the second pick of the draft, and I lacked confidence at times. Part about the game, but dude, you mentioned brother.
Brock looks like he's 12.
He does, yeah.
Brock looks like he's a 10-year-old out there, and he's like...
It's kind of uncomfortable for him, too, it feels like.
Yeah, easy, Bosa, please. Because I assume he holds Nick Bosa in high... I assume the way he views all his teammates is like, hey, these are like heroes almost, like superstars because of who he is. And they're all looking at him like, what is wrong with you? There is something different about this particular character right here in Brock Purdy.
Yeah, and it has to give them just so much confidence when they have won these games. Like the fact that they shouldn't be in the Super Bowl. Obviously, they have the skill for it.
No, remember, they got the most loaded roster.
Of course.
It's like, no shit. That's a profession by people.
Yeah, every roster for the last 50 years in the Super Bowl has been loaded. But it's like the fact that they are still winning these games when they're down 24-7 and whatever they were down to the Packers 21-3 or whatever it was, like that just has to give them even another level into what you said. Like, yeah, they have Defensive Player of the Year. They have the best left tackle in the game. They have the best running back in the game. They have the all-pro tight end. Like all those things. And then you add on the fact that they're winning games from these absurd deficits in the biggest moments. Like they must just be flying as high as possible.
Have you made a lean yet? Do you have a lean on where you're headed for the game? Will you waver? Will you waffle?
No.
You know what's going to happen already? Well, let's not waste it.
I mean, I don't.
You know
who I like and what I'm going to go with and why.
We're going to see you in Vegas next week, right?
Oh, yeah.
Chuck ain't missing a chance to go to Vegas.
Hey, this guy's
what's the casino called?
Bellagio, baby. No, you're talking about Uncle Pete?
Uncle Pete.
The Q-Zip. Yeah, the Q-Zip Casino.
The Q-Zip.
They reach out to you after last
What was it? Cactus Pete. Sorry. Cactus
there
Pete
it is.
is the name
Cactus
of it.
Pete's, the old
Did they send you a message?
They've renamed
Chuck's
one
Pete's?
of the rooms.
The
The Pagano suite.
You can definitely smoke in that room.
Yeah.
If we know anything about Cactus.
Extremely appreciative.
First piece of marketing in the history of that casino.
Hey, can't wait to see Cactus Pete someday. But Chuck's plugged in Vegas too. It's not just Chuck is
big time.
Oh, Chuck and Miss Tina know some people in Las Vegas. I've reaped the benefit from that in the past, and I believe the boys and I will be reaping the benefit of again next week. We can't wait to see you out there. But don't give your pick now, I guess, if you already got it figured out what's going to happen.
See, and
He's locked and loaded, though. He's not going to change.
That's what he just said. Yeah, not even a year.
Well, I'd like to hear what you have to say. I'd love to hear what AJ and the boys, what everybody else thinks.
Yeah, we got a long time. What about the Pro Bowl? Have you checked the Pro Bowl? Do you have a lean on the Pro Bowl and what you're thinking?
What are you liking the games tonight?
Yeah. What about the Pro Bowl games? Tug of war?
No.
Who's winning dodgeball?
What you mean?
I'm glad that guys still get to get recognized, but we were talking about it earlier. How did we get to this?
Coach, QB skills challenge. Tug of war.
It's like we blinked and it got
Dodgeball.
here, right, Chuck? It was like one day it was fine, and then one day it was the worst.
Whoa, Todd, we can't wait to watch.
No, I mean the actual game before it switched to flag.
You can't play football 50. You can't half-ass football games like full contact. It's not like the NBA. It's not like baseball. Football is either football or it's not.
Agree.
You let it happen though.
But no, because the year that I went, okay, Rivera was the coach of the NFC team. I had the AFC.
Okay.
And our boys played.
Really?
That was a draft. It was Jerry Rice, I think Dion.
Prime.
I had Prime. Prime was our head coach.
Smart.
And I think Jerry was on the other side. And we drafted players, right? And you remember the killer safety from the Browns, TJ
Ward. Yeah, he killed Gronk.
No, not Gronk.
He did have a Gronk leg where he broke his leg, but yes,
But
I remember
the wide receiver, the talented guy that traveled around a bunch of different teams, had problems with a bunch of different teams, he was his
Josh
teammate.
Gordon.
Josh Gordon. So Josh was on the other team. So it was NFC coach, AFC coach, but they were drafts. So we had a combination of all players. And they threw a ball over the middle, and we're like, we're going to play this game, like on the outside. We're not meeting. Like, you guys can go have your fun. We're going to do an hour walkthrough every single day. We're not going to have meetings just as long as you guys show up to the bus, you're on the bus, you go to the practice, we have a nice walkthrough, we come back. I don't want nobody missing nothing. Everybody good with that? No, yes, that's perfect. That works fine.
Deal.
And we're going to play. We're going to compete, and we're going to play. Otherwise, this thing's going to go away. They had us talking about it back then, that it was on the verge.
What year was this?
13. I think it was 2013. Watch. That's his teammate. And so we're looking at each other. Okay, we're playing. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, and there was obviously some guys there that weren't trying to mix it up. And I assume you talked to them as
a
well.
lot of white jerseys.
Hey, boys, understand that there's probably not everybody wants to play, but we're going to try to win this thing. And it just has 1 year after the next, it's just kind of become like understood, expected, and the standard is like, we're not wasting any energy on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not rolling the dice on any of this. And now they're trying to bring it back.
Mm-hmm. So what's tonight?
This is a skills
challenge.
Is it just tug of war or is it other
tug of
stuff?
war.
Oh, no,
Tug of war
brother.
Sunday, actually.
Dodgeball is tomorrow.
Tonight.
Okay.
QB challenge.
QB challenge is tonight.
Tic-tac-toe.
Right.
Will they throw at the golf carts driving with the targets? Because that's one of my favorite.
The punt catches tonight.
How about that video of Dan Marino? We're talking about ESPN Socials doing their thing. Dan Marino delivers a 45-yard strike to a golf cart, and it's still going through the golf cart in the middle of it with paint on the end of the ball. I couldn't even imagine how many guys threw balls and got fucked because the paint didn't work with whatever back in the day. But the quarterback carnival thing has been entertaining.
Yes. That's awesome.
That has been an entertaining.
And they have like other players throwing, not just quarterbacks.
Watch this fucking huck.
What a ball. Had to hit a bullseye to win, right?
Yeah, and it wasn't like dying at the thing.
Look at those
Still
shoulders.
going, by the way.
Zubaz.
By the way.
That thing is on a rope.
Jeez.
I heard Gump say earlier that was from like 10 years ago. I think that's 30 years ago.
Dan looked tanned.
20. I mean, he just threw an 80-yard bomb off a boat to Messi soccer ball. I mean,
True.
guy's still doing it.
What are you talking about?
I didn't see
Dan
that.
the Man, new Michelob Ultra commercial.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it real?
Dan Marino
He
with
fired
Messi?
that thing. Yeah, it's definitely real. He
Messi,
fired that thing.
hits
Messi.
it to him on his yacht. Dan catches it, goes, Dan the Man, throws a 90-yard soccer ball back to the beach.
And it's not edited?
No.
No, it's real. Legit. It's legit.
Not a flub.
No.
Fucking
send it. Exactly.
We have that clip. I haven't seen that.
I have not
Have you
seen this
that?
clip either. Yeah.
Copyright music, probably. I don't know if we can.
Pretty similar like
But
to
you
Tom
can-
Brady when he got a hole-in-one. It's very, like, that was definitely legit.
What's your guys'
Same
deal?
thing.
So it's not
Why does
real.
everybody lead me astray? Dan Marino, Pittsburgh legend, hero. I thought for sure he still had it, still throwing it. Now
He does still have it.
You remember that Steph Curry Sports Illustrated Huck thing?
My God.
That's what you just said.
That one we
Is
thought.
that thing fake?
I'm not saying it to you, Chuck, but
Steph could do it, though. Dan, we know, could do it.
Dan the man.
Oh,
Jesus.
oh my God.
Come on.
It's real.
It was a duck coming out.
Fucking rope.
No, it's a soccer ball.
What do we?
I don't like that Dan agreed to do this.
Dan Marino?
Dan Marino.
Goes down to the left. What do
Look
we?
at that. He threw a draw.
He threw a slider.
What a dart, dude.
Just let him actually throw it.
What's that boat
I
name?
mean, and then Messi
Wow, what
hits
a
it
kick.
back.
What a kick by Messi.
Oh, he starts it
Watch
by
this.
kicking
Yeah.
it back.
Messi controls it and then takes on the rest of the beach.
I do like how he says Dan the man.
The keg of Michelob actually gets there at that time, so he kind of sets up one of his buddies for a sick goal into a hammock and goes back and enjoys a pint with his boys.
That's cool.
I can't believe.
That was a bummer. From what it was sold,
You're
I feel
saying
like
that's
I
not
just got
real?
False
I thought
advertising.
Dan Marino was taking that soccer ball goalie style.
Tim
That would have
Howard.
been awesome.
I thought he was doing. That's what from the way you guys were
Me
describing
too.
it.
Yeah.
Uncle Dan just. I don't even think he was ever holding a ball.
Oh,
how about that?
That was
Probably wasn't on
CGI.
that boat.
Was he on
to
a
be
boat,
honest.
you think?
I doubt it.
Dan definitely.
He was
He was
on
on
a
the
boat.
boat.
He's been on a boat.
Dan
but-
Marino.
He was
dude.
on the Dan Marino.
Yeah, Dan said, "You pay me with a boat and some other stuff potentially." They're like, "Well, we're actually thinking about giving you a percentage of Michelob sales over the
Nope.
no."
That's dumb.
Which is allegedly the story of Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, where he was offered a percentage of the movie profit.
Correct.
Instead, took a outright like $30,000.
That movie's gonna fucking suck. Give me $30K.
By the way.
All right, let's talk about some things that aren't football. Caitlin Clark, best show in town every town she's in.
Yeah.
There's people lined up for blocks to get in to watch her play basketball. Good for women's college basketball. Good for Iowa. And good for Caitlin Clark being a needle mover. There's not a lot of these humans that exist in our world. Caitlin Clark has become one. She's still in college. And what she's doing is wonderful. They're paying a lot of money and waiting a long time to watch her play basketball. I can't even fathom this being a pipe dream for college basketball, women's college basketball, people in charge and everything. Good for them. I can't wait for her to be a member of the Indiana Fever next year.
Maybe. We'll see.
This is phenomenal. Though.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal. She's a game changer. Actual.
I mean, Northwestern women's, but like that, there hasn't been a Northwestern men's ticket that's went for $300. I don't think ever, probably. And people paying at least $300 to get in last night. You haven't been able to get a ticket to Carver for like any of Iowa's home games all year. It's impossible. I think she's gonna break the. She's
100 something.
She should break the record February 15th at home against Michigan. So like, it's. Yeah, the all-time points record. Yeah, Kelce Plum holds it right now. So it just, I don't know, it's crazy, and it's awesome that like what it's done for the school and everything because she is. I mean, with men's college basketball right now, it seems like there really isn't like a definitive. I mean, I guess you could argue like Purdue or whatever, but there's really no definitive one team, and teams are getting beat all the time. So like she is kind of like not just women's, like she is the biggest story in college basketball, bar none.
And LSU South Carolina played the other, I think last week, sold out barn, place was insane. Dawn Staley had a tremendous quote afterwards. Like women's college basketball, we watched during the tournament because of LSU and because of Iowa. They're riding that momentum from last March Madness into a full season, seemingly, AJ.
Yeah, and I think they're going to hopefully find a way to give all these girls some COVID years so they continue to stay in college and we continue to have this momentum.
No, Caitlin Clark
Yep.
deserves to be in the best women's basketball league in the United States of America.
Amen.
And that's WNBA.
With the best franchise in the WNBA.
The
Go to
Indiana
Vegas.
Fever.
No.
Vegas needs to figure out a way to trade up and get her and Kelsey Plum.
No, we have the number one overall pick.
Yeah, what are you
Indiana
doing?
Fever.
That's fine. They need to rig it. I don't know who the commissioner of the WNBA is, but do not let her.
We have the number one overall pick. It is Indiana Fever show.
I understand that. I don't know who the commissioner is. We need to maybe mix up the ping pong balls. Make sure Indiana does not. The Fever have the number 1 pick every fucking year, and they somehow continue to have the number 1 pick every year. So something's not working.
That's not true.
Something's not working. I don't want to call for the head coach's job. I don't know who the head coach is.
I think it's brand new head coach.
There's a problem, too.
It's Larry Bird.
If you want to bring in Larry Bird, then yeah.
I don't know if Larry Bird's associated with the Indiana Fever, although I'm sure he's a big fan.
He might be.
Probably a big fan.
Don't you know the entire Indiana Fever setup? Remember, you came on here one week and were like, a producer at a local news station has an impersonation of the third person in command at the Indiana.
Ross Boland works for.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Works for
You guys should hear this fucking impression. My God, brother. I mean, I don't know what her name is, but it's spot on.
It was phenomenal. Indiana Fever, number 1 overall pick. Thank you. Welcome to town, Caitlin
The
Clark.
Sparks are going to take that number 1 pick.
Rumor has it Sparks are thinking about trading up, yeah.
But they don't have what it takes.
Well, they do have 2 of the top 4
They have
picks.
3 of the top 8.
Oh, jeez. They can trade all 3 of those picks and go up to 1.
Yeah, but why
No
with
way.
the Fever?
Not for Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
You don't. This is like
How do you have
having
3 of
number
the top 8?
They do this.
Don't question.
The Fever had
The
that last
Fever
year.
had fucking 28 of the 30 picks in the draft last year, and they still
This
somehow.
is like
Too
Andrew
many.
Luck's doing there at 1. You just do not even answer any calls.
Bingo.
How about Andrew having to go take trips to other teams? You know, I think he was visiting the Colts one day when I was in there, and I think they said, or he said, or somebody said, he had to go visit the Washington football team, and it didn't seem like anybody was pumped up about it. Like, what are we even doing here? We're going to draft Andrew Luck. Caitlin Clark needs to know that when you decide to come to the WNBA next year, the entire city is excited for you to come.
I actually don't know why I'm saying this because I do want to watch her here, so I kind of do want. But
yeah, you've certainly been swinging a heavy bat against it.
I want her to win. She's a superstar. She should also be in LA or
win.
Vegas. Or,
Well, Sabrina Ionescu is taking on Steph Curry in a three-point shooting challenge.
and where's she play?
New York.
Exactly.
Well, this is the LA or New York of the Midwest.
And New York Liberty.
Chicago.
New York, the Liberty had like 3 straight years the number 1 pick as well, and that's why they're good now. So this is our second
And
one
because they fucking traded for B. Stu.
Absolutely, but we got Aaliyah Boss in the future and Caitlin Clark.
Look, she's already in the jersey.
That's sick. Whoever did that.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm all the way back in.
Boom.
That's awesome.
Now those seats there in the back, you see, those won't be empty anymore.
No, we're gonna fix that.
Caitlin Clark, Connor, Espresso Martini boys.
Amen.
Gonna fill that place up every time she comes.
I'll
to
get season tickets if she is a.
Better get them now.
How about we will as well?
Okay,
I will too.
Boom.
Me too.
It's in the summer too. I go to a Fever game all the time in the summer.
All right.
How many?
No, I will go to a Fever game all the time.
I've been to numerous Fever games. Love the atmosphere. Love the vibes.
Yeah.
Teams waiting on a winner, and they got one cooking right now, especially with
The
Caitlin Clark
mascot?
coming to town.
Philly
Mascot.
Fever.
That's not the name.
Who? What is it?
It's not the name.
Felipe Fever.
No, it's Fever
Oh,
Pitch.
that's cool.
AJ, stop making a mockery out of the Indiana Fever.
I'm not. I can't. Honestly, I want her to go there because that's close enough for me to drive and watch.
Which, another reason why Indiana Fever should never think about trading away their opportunity. When you've seen these lines out the building in places,
Don't
it's like,
do it.
They wouldn't dare. They wouldn't even think about it.
Golf has a lot of things going on right now.
Yeah.
Golf has a lot of stuff happening. Obviously, LIV signs John Rahm. John Rahm preparing for his first season with LIV. They got a new team name, this, that, and the other thing. PGA now has a collection of investors from the United States of America where they've been able to wrangle up billions of dollars in an attempt, I guess, to compete with the Saudi Arabia fund, the PIF, even though we had heard that the PIF was going to be buying or merging with the PGA. Feels like a lot of clusterfuck probably happening behind the scenes, but more money's being dumped into golf, and seemingly more promises are being made to top golfers. And I think in the end, it's going to be good for us as golf fans and for golf as a whole, although I don't fully comprehend how we've gotten to this point at any part of the league.
Bingo. Hopefully, I think everyone just wants everyone playing together at some point. And I don't know if this hurts or helps it or not, but I know $900 million is going to 180 golfers or something like that, and $700 million of it is going to the top 36 or something like that, PGA golfers.
So bigger purses, Tone, or what?
No,
guaranteed.
Yeah, they're getting either percentage or equity. Sorry. So yeah, they're taking care of their players obviously because they have to, because everyone else would go to LIV if they weren't. at the bottom one of the tweets it said this doesn't rule out the LIV and the PGA coming to an agreement, but
That makes sense.
But it does.
Yeah, Joe Pompliano says, importantly, this deal does not include Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, although the PGA Tour is still negotiating with them on a potential partnership. I thought potential partnership, and then they had a partnership, and then
the backlash caused it not to be.
Chuck, I think what we all realize is that there's people making decisions at places that maybe aren't supposed to be doing it. And that's happening at very successful places that we would assume smart people would be in positions making good decisions. And I think golf was one of them. Yeah. Whenever we saw Monahan, is that his name?
Yes. Yeah, Jay.
Monahan coming out, swinging the biggest grandstand axe, just full on burying the players that took life-changing, generational wealth-changing money to golf less and did that. And then rallying the PGA and this is us versus them for the good of the world. And then behind the scenes being like, how much of that money do you have? And then doing that whole thing made us lose hope in a lot. I think a lot of people lost hope. Now, some of us that were saying like, if you get the opportunity to get $500 million and you don't come from a lot of money, like you should certainly think about it. Well, that's bad money. Bad money's everywhere. And I don't like it. Listen, I'm not a fan of that. Bummer. That's just reality of the situation and the history of money and who has it and who had not had it. But if we can get that to other places, is that not what we are potentially trying to do in the end? Whatever. I'm going to get attacked. I did get attacked for that. But then when Monahan just does that behind closed doors, and then now it seems to fumble the bag, he got all the negative PR of seemingly fucking over his entire tour. Mm-hmm. And then now not following through with it so you don't get the benefit of what you potentially did that for. None of it makes sense to me.
He's not going to last much longer, right?
He took that leave of absence for 3 weeks or whatever.
Right after the announcement.
Immediately afterwards because of a health decision. It's like, I don't think any of us know what the hell's going on in golf.
I don't like it.
But
they don't know.
Yeah.
Well, and Rory's saying, like, yeah, it's gone too far now. Like, I had to change my stance. That's not how I feel anymore. We need the LIV guys to play in the PGA Tour.
Like what Rory's doing.
Because he wasn't forthright and just honest with the guys up front, too, then you have guys like Rom leaving and some of these guys who maybe wouldn't have went to LIV if he would have just said from the get-go, like, hey, Arthur Blank and a bunch of these baseball owners are going to inject $12 billion into it so that you guys are getting equity. Like, it's almost like they didn't know what they were doing, then realized that they were fucked, and now they're just scrambling to kind of do whatever they can to have the last grasp on the situation.
Foxy has the Rory video here.
I said to him, just like I said to John, like, I'm totally supportive of your decision if that's what you feel is the right thing for you. And look, these are guys that I've spent a lot of time with, and I guess I've said this before, but I've come to the realization is I'm not here to change people's minds. I'm here to just try to, especially when I was at the board level, trying to give them the full picture of where things are at and hopefully where things are going to go. They can do with that information what they want, but at the end of the day, I think I'm done with trying to change people's minds and trying to get them to see things a certain way or try to see things through my lens, because that's ultimately not the way the world works. If people still have eligibility on this tour and they want to come back and play, or you want to try to do something, let them come back. I mean, I think it's hard to punish people. I don't think there should be a punishment for. I've changed my tune on that because I see where golf is, and I see that having a diminished PGA Tour and having a diminished LIV Tour or anything else is bad for both parties. The faster that we can all get back together and start to play and start to have the strongest fields possible, I think is great for golf.
Hell yeah, Rory.
Yeah, you go, Rory.
Well said.
Yeah.
God.
Now they should just, because Rory just said that, like the tooth fairy shows up, you put your tooth under your pillow and then you wake up in the morning and whatever's under there instead, whether it's $1, $5, $10, $20, depending upon where you grew up in and all that stuff. They should just drop $100 million in his bank account from LIV and just say, thank you, Rory.
Thank you. You're welcome. Appreciate it, Rory.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that, Rory. And then John Rahm seemingly being the one that hey, this guy draws eyes. A lot of people like watching him play and going to be in every single tournament. Without him being there every single sucks, not good. So maybe we are seeing what we thought. And I think what Phil Mickelson hoped for.
Bingo.
At one point.
Yes.
I think we're kind of getting there. I think we're close to getting there, even though it took a couple years to get to this final point. Golf is going to end up in a better spot. The golfers are going to end up with more money. They're going to end up with more guaranteed money. And us as fans, we're going to see more. I think it's going to end up being great.
Yep.
And that's glass half full, poured into a smaller glass. All of a sudden, glass is entirely full. Life is good.
Bruce said this to me recently, and it scared the shit out of me. He said that golf is going to turn into horse racing, where only 3 tournaments a year, 3 races a year matter, and that would be the worst thing that ever happened.
So that's the majors, what everybody's expecting, and that is kind of where all the eyes are.
Yeah.
But boy, they're going to need some big names on those random John Deere Classic weekends.
Their sponsors need guarantees that those big players are going to be in the field.
And I think it's going to happen, allegedly, with the money that's going to potentially be equitized into the players' pockets. Let's go to the humanoids.
Here we go.
Okay.
What happened?
Elon Musk
Yep, there it is.
has successfully put a Neuralink into a human's head and is now testing it. The Neuralink, from my understanding, is everything you just expect it to be. It enables control of your phone or computer and through almost any device just by thinking. Initial users will be those who have lost the use of their limbs. Imagine if Stephen Hawking, which we learned a lot about obviously over the last few weeks, could communicate faster than a speed typist or auctioneer. That is the goal, okay? So just being able to control things with your mind is now the thought of what Neuralink is, which will then change into Neuralink being able to dissect things that you're seeing in real time and give you answers.
Make you the smartest person alive.
So what I'm saying is we need to keep these things out of sports.
Have to.
Yeah, I would believe. Yeah, we need some guardrails in place.
Yeah, we need to keep the Neuralinked humans out of sports because if all of a sudden Mac Jones is able to process a defense like Brock Purdy's able to do it, then what's the separator between Brock Purdy and Mac Jones? You know, if this Neuralink, as the ball's being snapped, is able to do the Amazon analytics, these two guys probably come and circle them with red, and all of a sudden they're seeing that, and then all of a sudden, hey, this is cover 2. Here's highlighting the person you should play the ball to. Then are we even thinking anymore?
No.
The in-between years is the biggest part of becoming great at a sport, and it's what the separator is. So we need to make sure when we're having these conversations, Neuralink, I assume Elon thinks it's going to do something positive for something. And I assume there is some aspect of society that is thinking to themselves, this is the worst decision of all time. Why are we doing this? I would just like to be the portion of society that says, got to keep these out of the fucking game. And I don't know how that's going to work out. I assume we're going to see Neuralinked athletes all over the place. I assume there's going to be weird parents who put Neuralinks in their kids so that they can win youth football games better than everybody else.
Sure.
And we don't need that. AJ.
We're going to get a scanner. They're going to have to scan people's head because if you're coming into the league, it's at the combine, they're going to say, hey, we need to see if you got Neuralink in your head because obviously you're going to hide it because you're going to have a huge advantage over the rest of the players.
Youth football, you got to step on a scale, right, to make sure you make weight. They need to also going to have to create put your kid's head in here.
Scan it.
Tell me if there's a computer in there or a brain in there. That's what we need to know. Nick, what's the big fear here? Obviously that they start thinking for themselves and turn the humans into zombies where the Neuralink controls everything they do?
Absolutely. Flip of a switch, whoever controls the main system of Neuralink could control all bodily motion and function of the implants. That is a worry. But also it's going to do some good. Allegedly, it's going to help paralyzed people walk and things. So,
that's
it's
the
that's
the first thing.
Yeah,
that's the first thing I said.
Until Elon's people come down from wherever planet he's from, and then he turns everyone with a Neuralink into a fighting flesh bot.
Well, that's a negative way. Let's go back to the positive way here. If they do come down and want to brawl, apparently what I'm hearing is our paralyzed portion of society is going to be able to potentially not be paralyzed.
Oh yeah, and and that's just like the beginning as far as problems and diseases go. Like they're talking about if you have really bad eyesight, like glaucoma, things of that nature, fixes that. If you have really bad hearing, like it is the potential of it is huge. Yeah, like Chuck
might live forever.
Be all in.
Might be able to hear. You'd put that thing in your dome?
No.
It's going to be
If I was
tough.
paralyzed, I would. I'll sign up for the trial if I'm paralyzed.
No, that not just for my hearing, but if it was something like that.
Yeah, like people who become blind throughout their life that aren't blind for their entire life, like helps them a lot. Like people who have, obviously he mentioned Stephen Hawking, like a lot of people have cerebral palsy in one side of their body, whether it's like their right arm or their right leg or whatever. fixing that.
How about like people who have strokes and stuff?
Parkinson's, ALS,
All of
like
it. Sure.
anything like with the body where it's like.
See that? I'm hearing a lot of good.
There's a ton of good. It's just the Elon Army crowd and
the humanoids.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a conspiracy guy.
Birds aren't real guys.
Look,
fight for this.
I know I'm a conspiracy guy, and I'm aware that I am the one that should be at the front lines of Elon's army. That it shouldn't be happening, but like the possibilities of it are.
We can't get a Tesla to stop at a red light. We're gonna put it in our brain and be like, "Oh, now we're fixed."
Did you watch that? What was that movie that on Netflix?
Dirty Money.
At the End of the World.
Yeah, the not Dirty Money. No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The one that the Obamas created.
Yeah. At the End of the World. I think?
No.
So why would I watch it?
Leave the World Behind.
Leave the world behind.
Leave the World Behind. Did you see the Tesla part of that?
Oh yeah.
As I was watching, I'm like,
What'd they do?
Yeah, that's you.
wait a minute.
Yeah, you got
They
one.
took over they took over your car. There's reports of, they've taken over cars and driven them off cliffs and stuff for people.
Allegedly.
Of course.
Obviously. We have no idea.
I mean, of course, I didn't name names or say who did it or what, but I'm saying there's definitely reports of that.
No, there's been big conversation by people who are pretty open-minded to things that could potentially take place about how, you can just take over the car, seemingly. Somebody can just take over what you're doing. And, I drive an electric vehicle because I thought I was saving the world when I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
You are. Yeah, you are.
Well, we've talked about this numerous times.
In a way.
I did it so I could grandstand about being a hero.
Yeah.
Okay? Look at me.
Mm-hmm.
Look at me. Look at me. And also, nice cars.
Great cars.
Like, they're very, very nice. And then as the world turns, you learn more and more and more. And am I saving the world? Am I actually? I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. But the fear, though, while you're driving it, that, like, everything here is a computer. So we've seen computers, like, short circuit before. My thought is, like, what if it just and then
speeds up.
Let alone like the conspiracy theory of somebody taking over the car, which is certainly something I've heard and I've been like, don't want to hear that. But just like it's short circuiting somehow and then just not being able to do something. But every car I've had that has been an electric vehicle has operated perfectly. Windshield wipers will freeze right here sometimes in the middle of a rainstorm.
Not good.
And then they go again, and I'm like, well, I guess I got to take the game out, blow on it, put it back in. And every once in a while, the AC will go and then down to nothing. And it's like, well, who decided it's doing that?
Yeah.
And you think, like, if it's able to do that, is it able to do something else? You don't know. You just keep those thoughts in your mind. But I've certainly had those fears in the past. And then when you watch that movie, they just got these
Or just smashing
Teslas
into each
are
other.
just smashing into each other, blocking all the roads and all the exits and everything. It's like, wait a minute. Yeah, that's my biggest fear right there. I've actually thought about that numerous times. Let's hope that doesn't happen with the Neuralink.
Well, they break themselves, the Teslas, right? You don't ever even hit the brake. It just kind of eases itself.
Well, the
so
issue-
if it just decides, hey, I'm not braking here.
The issue with it all is that every once in a while the car will just slam on the brakes because it thinks there's something.
Yeah, beep, beep, beep.
And that's certainly something, too. Yeah. I was backing into my garage.
Oh, I couldn't imagine.
And I'm just like, move backwards, not flying, okay, but moving at a pretty good rate. Pretty good backup driver.
Sure.
I've been floating gears since I'm a kid, so like I have a pretty good handle on it. And then all of a sudden it just slams on the brakes. It's like almost a whiplash. It's like a pretty. Oh, did I just kill some? Like, was there a dog back there that I didn't see? Nothing. It just sensed something was there. But that's not just electric vehicles. That's all cars that have the sensors on them now.
They're all chips now. They're all microchips. You're like, you can't like just pop the hood and fix cars like you used to.
How about the ones that keep you in a lane?
The worst.
That's annoying. It's all beeping. Everything is super annoying.
How do we let a commercial? The guy's in the truck and he's with his family. He's got kids in the back.
Chevy
his wife's
commercial,
over here. He's having he's playing a clap game and doing 85 miles an hour, not hands on the wheel.
Oh, you're saying the car's driving itself?
Yeah, the lane.
You got to be aware. Autopilot.
That's a 2024 Silverado.
There's people getting in. It sounds like a beautiful truck. There's people getting into driverless like Ubers and stuff.
Yeah, no thanks.
People are terrible drivers. Still, humans operating vehicles is much more dangerous than autopilots.
Indiana's got some bad drivers. Ohio's got some bad drivers.
My
But what I'm
Uber
saying,
this
like, there's a
morning-
dude.
You're what?
My Uber driver this morning.
Don't even.
Asshat.
I had a 78-year-old with Parkinson's driving me this weekend in Tampa. Guy didn't turn on the windshield wipers. I couldn't see anything. He had 2 pairs of glasses on. I thought I was a dead man. I got out of the car. I said, I'm out of here. I'm not doing this.
Had to.
I said, see.
I'm in the car 20 minutes, and we've done like 4, and I still can see the JW Marriott. And I'm like, we good? And he's pointing at his deal. Hey, GPS. I said, well, that thing's fucked up.
Well,
because I can still see the JW, and we've been out on the road for 20 minutes.
The driverless ones, I don't know how I would react to that whole thing.
You got to be aware, though. You can't just fall asleep. I know that like whenever one of those things does hit somebody or get in a wreck, people freak out. I'm like, compared to the amount of wrecks that people themselves do, like cause, like it's nothing. I know the one dude I think was watching porn, pulling on his meat, and got in a wreck, and he blamed Tesla.
Of course,
that's not all they're doing.
Bobby did that.
No, it's a real thing. I mean, Bobby, I don't know if he did or not. Bobby doesn't have a Tesla, but
So somebody
that's the
said,
thing.
I want the driverless one so nobody could see me. I got a little stress to relieve.
Yeah, and he goes to an intersection and blames the Tesla, not himself.
Yeah, it's crazy. The future's bananas. The Neuralink is the most recent one. In probably 30, 40 years, people might pull this and say, listen to these idiots talk about driverless driver.
What is the internet? It's like when you say, what is the internet?
Yeah, that guy that said that, certainly something. The
Gumble. Gumble.
No, and with, who is he sitting next to?
Epstein?
No.
Matthew Lauer.
Matt Lauer.
Yeah. So every time that video comes up, I'm like, oh, there's the morning show, right?
There he is.
There's the morning show right there. But I hope we are and survive long enough to see it all. But some of it does freak me out.
Oh yeah.
And every time I get in a rental car and they have that lane assist thing on, I get so fucking pissed. I'm like, hey, listen, you're putting me in more danger. If you You know?
Yeah, just let me drive.
The backup beeps make me crazy. Like, just turn it off.
Yeah, just let me
Stop buzzing my seat. Stop buzzing the seat.
This makes sense. Like he still has the 2013 Big Red Ohio State.
Now he's got a new truck.
No, I don't. I missed that. I missed the old analog situation at times.
Yeah, but his new truck is nice.
AJ, you son of a bitch.
I like it.
It's got a Decepticon on the front of it.
Yes.
Too. Yeah.
It's got some.
What's that?
Did they ever recover the one that was stolen, AJ?
Oh, yeah. Got it back. Drove it for another 4 years, I think. 3 years.
Old Red was beautiful.
Old Red,
gorgeous truck.
Old Red was beautiful. This one, though.
Still red?
No.
Black.
And it's.
Yeah. It's huge.
It's a big boy.
The wheels come up to.
It's an F-150.
Right there.
2500 Cummins.
Ford F-150. Rocky Ridge, though, it's called, I guess. So it's like bigger tires raised up a little bit.
Shelby GT, no, just standard Ford?
Standard. But it's like this Rocky Ridge thing. I don't know. I had a buddy who I saw had one, and then that's why I picked this guy. But I don't know. It's
a nice truck.
Great truck.
Nice job, AJ.
You deserve it, Hawk.
Deserve it, AJ.
Deserve it.
Good truck. All right, as we wrap up this glorious Coach 'em Up Thursday, Chuck, you want to do a giveaway, pal?
Love to.
What do you want to do? What are you thinking?
Don't box.
I saw AQ like huck a basketball and.
How about the top golf balls?
You want to do the top?
Put it right in that trash can?
Yeah, it was a bounce. It was a bounce, but he tried to top golf ball. This is actually, no one has been able to accomplish this particular feat, Chuck. I don't know if you have a strong enough arm for it, though.
I don't think he does.
I can't get that thing to there.
Why don't you try it?
Yeah,
The trash can,
There's no
you
weight,
can.
There's no weight behind it.
Yeah, there is.
Maybe try it.
Chuck, you're sucking the energy out. Try it.
Yeah, you're being a drain, not a fountain. Now, Top
Vampire.
Golf, on the Top Golf app right now, you get half off Top Golf Monday through Wednesday at most locations. The Las Vegas one is not one of them. Top Golf, obviously, an incredible time, and our newest partner of the program. We appreciate the hell of it. Half off Monday through Wednesday whenever you book in the app, and you obviously have to book ahead of time because all the bays are booked out.
Always.
Very thankful for Top Golf, and they sent these two fluffy golf balls.
Yeah, they're sweet. They got faces on them, too.
Yeah, on the other side.
Like Wilson.
Yeah, it is. It is a little bit like Wilson. I think Chuck wants to play catch to see if he can throw that thing.
I don't think he can.
Not a strong enough arm, Chuck? Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, don't
I think I get that.
Don't lollipop
I
it.
think I get that to the hoop.
Oh, you want to make it in the hoop?
Okay, Chuck.
All right.
Okay, Chuck.
All right, Chuck. 25 people, $500. You're able to bury that Top Golf ball into that basketball hoop right there on the right side.
Come on, Charles.
Tries to get with little toppy.
So we got two Top Golf
balls.
That's it.
Yeah.
No retrieving?
Well, you don't need it. You don't need it. You're gonna make it.
right
What are we
here.
even talking about?
Who cares about retrieving?
AJ, what's this guy's negativity happening before he even throws the ball? Huh? I'm going to need at least 3, 6, 7, 10 tries. What are we even doing, AJ?
Yeah, explain yourself, Chuck. What's going on? That's not like you. You're very positive.
That's not like you.
Okay, so the first time you went to punt, right? You just went cold. You never got a warm up. You never got any lessons. You never got how to set.
I never seen Secretariat stretch.
Catch the ball.
Bingo.
What does this have to do with anything right now, old man?
I should get one just to get a feel for the weight.
What if it goes in, though? Does it count?
No.
What the?
He wants a breakfast ball.
So dumb.
Hey, Mitt, will you come out here and get a breakfast ball for Chuck? And this goes in. You heard it, people. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I don't like that this is the case here. Mitt, I think he's throwing that way, pal. I think he's throwing that way at that hoop.
Shit.
Thank you to Mitt, who looks so cool today.
So cool.
Good fit.
So cool today. Hey, Mitt is one of the greatest ball shaggers in the history of ball shaggers.
Yep.
Obviously, NFL ball shagger, professional ball shagger for a long time. This one does not count. Chuck's just getting a feel for it. AJ, this one doesn't count.
Okay, doesn't count, Chuck. Good luck.
Thank God it didn't count, but I think we got it figured out, though, huh?
All right, right there.
We got to
I'm
figure it
go
out
to the
right
trash can.
What do you think, Chuck?
Nice
Does this
throw,
one
Mitt.
count, or you want another practice?
It's underhand, Mitt.
You want another practice? You want to?
Okay. All right, let's go.
We're ready to go.
He's
Here
ready
we go.
to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Pagano will attempt to throw this Topgolf fluffy ball into that basketball hoop right over there. If he's able to accomplish that feat, 25 people win $500 thanks to our friends at Topgolf. Chuck has done a practice throw. It was horrendous.
Terrible.
What has he learned from that throw? What will he implement into this throw? Well, 25 people! Oh.
Pretty good.
I think you have an opportunity. There's another ball right here, I believe, somewhere. Boom. Shot to Topgolf. This is second ball. This one's similar to the first one, though. Remember that. Don't overthink it too much. Don't overthink it too much. Chuck Pagano, 25 people, $500.
Oh, you got it.
You're locked in. now.
Oh,
You're locked
my
in.
God. So Mitt was able to gather both of those balls. Yesterday, AQ was walking as if it was lava.
Nice scoop, Chuck.
Great scoop.
Throw the goddamn ball, man.
Guy's
Mitt, why are you
shortstop.
underhand that?
Yeah.
Yeah, got the ref toss in for the Topgolf ball. I appreciate that. Chuck, what did we learn from those two throws? Anything, what did you learn from there?
Yeah, get back there, Chuck.
Got a good feel for these balls.
Do you sense that in the next two, one's going home?
100%.
Wow.
Okay.
Here we go.
We're going to Vegas, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so put your money on one of these.
Okay, you got it. Two opportunities to win 25 people $500. All you got to do is put that Topgolf ball into that hoop right over there. If you book on the Topgolf app, it's half off Monday through Wednesday right now.
Hell yeah.
For the people, Chuck. For the people. Yup.
Yuck.
Oh,
right
went
idea.
right for it.
The bank was hope.
Yeah, he did have a little curveball, but we do know that Chuck has confidence in that this one is going to fall. Chuck Pagano for 25 people. Oh, no. We bet on it. We lost.
All right.
Well, hey,
Not every day is a winning day, I guess.
That's right.
I won yesterday.
Not every day.
It was the final score of Burnley.
3-1.
I watched some of it. They have a good squad.
Yeah, it was fun.
Which one? Manchester City? They do have a great team.
They look good too. But did old buddy come on? The 6'8" guy.
Yeah, he played for 20 minutes at the end.
Shut out, right?
Yeah, he did not score, which is crazy. Crazy thing. But they were already up a lot, so I don't think he was really. What do you got going on there, Chuck? You see you holding a football. Is the show over, or what's going on?
It's up to you.
No. You seemingly made that decision there.
I'll put this down.
Oh, no. You don't want any winners. You're done with it.
Just huck that sumbitch.
Just throw it. You already picked it
Fire
up.
that pig skin.
Into the garbage can?
Yeah, put it in the garbage.
All
right.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Pagano will be firing this football into the rock trash can right over yonder. 25 people! Oh my God.
What a throw.
Not meant to be.
That was a phenomenal
That was
ball.
in. I mean, it went in. That's back rim. Yeah.
Chuck can spin it.
Yeah.
He's been throwing to DBs, and corners for his entire career. As soon as he saw that garbage can, he was like, I've made this throw 1,000 times.
That's all I was thinking about ever since AQ put his in yesterday. I'm thinking, oh, hell yeah. I've got that.
Last opportunity, Chuck.
Hey, here we go.
Come on, Chuck.
Come on, Chuck.
You got it, Chuck. You got it, Chuck.
All you got to do is put it into that trash can right over there that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has been guarding for years at this point.
Cactus Pete's.
If you're able to put that ball into that trash can, 25 people, $500.
Here you go, Chuck.
On his Coach 'em Up Thursday.
Maybe next week, Chuck. Oh, wait.
All right, let's end on a high note, shall we?
Hell yeah.
Chuck, good work today.
Good work,
Good
Chuck.
job.
You didn't win anybody
Chuck.
anything, but AQ won people stuff yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Bingo.
In Vegas on the set, there is opportunities to win
Okay.
some stuff for people.
Get that little, yeah.
So you'll go out a winner on the end of the day. Okay? Sound good? What's that?
You write it down?
No, next week we're taking
Yeah,
it. What the fuck?
Shut the fuck up, old man.
Joining us now is a tradition in this particular office. Normally, nobody says anything to somebody who maybe survives another year on this planet until a cake makes its presence. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a birthday in the office. It's a man who's had a lot of change in his life in the last year. This final trip around the sun has been a glorious one. I believe he'll probably eat this entire cake in one sitting with the way he's been operating as of late. Happy birthday to the big paisan, Nick Milroe.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, Mitt will be bringing you the cake. He brought it out here to the stage, but obviously you're in the back working, and he thought you were going to come out and get your love and your hugs, but...
Love you, Frank.
Happy birthday, Nick.
Happy birthday, Nick.
You look really good, Nick.
Love you, Nick.
Nick, you look solid, bub. You look phenomenal. And AJ wanted to give you a speech on his birthday.
No, but it didn't. I think it was Walt's birthday earlier, right? Thanks for the one shot for sure. But was it Walt's birthday, Nick?
It was my dog, Big Walt's birthday.
Okay, good. Well, happy birthday to you and Walt, then, Nick. That's
Thank
awesome.
You, AJ.
Good for
it's
you.
Very kind of you.
Do you don't need the one shot anymore?
That's all I got. Yeah, one shot's fine. I'm okay with it, but I'm just saying I don't have a whole speech for Nick, but I appreciate Nick. He's great at what he does.
Speech.
I'm not in 7th grade anymore, Goop.
I mean, you might as well just...
Are you sure?
Didn't Nick give a speech at your birthday party?
Yeah.
He did.
I don't know if he did or not. If he did, it's because he wanted to and no one forced him up there to do it.
Well, you've been forced to give speeches at birthday parties before. Just count this as one of those situations.
Man, go on now, son.
Come on, AJ. It's not hard.
How about a few
I'm
nice
okay,
words?
I'd like Chuck to actually, you know what? I'd like Chuck to explain the difference between a 2-hole and a 3-holer on the football.
All right. Okay. We'll do that next week. We'll do that next week from Vegas. Happy birthday, Nick. We love you, buddy. We're appreciative of you. To everybody that watches, you're the greatest. We'll be back tomorrow. I think we got Jim Harbaugh joining.
Yeah.
Right. New coach of Los Angeles Chargers. That's a big deal. We're going to try to finish up this Mount Rushmore of NFL quarterbacks.
Yeah. Need to.
Had Peyton today live from Disney World. He was pumped to be in Disney World. Have you seen a guy that pumped to be at Disney World?
He can't even fucking go on Space Mountain.
What's that, pal?
He can't even go on Space Mountain either.
Well, he's neck surgery.
Well, I know. That's what I'm saying. He's that pumped, and he doesn't even fucking get to go on Space Mountain.
I got a picture of him at Disney World. Just so excited, like a little child. And obviously Mosley was going bananas as well. So shout to him. Patrick Mahomes joined yesterday when he poked his head in. And then Tom Brady was on Tuesday. So I think we could complete a Mount Rushmore if we get the Montana on.
Yeah.
Oh,
this would be a great week too going forward. Like, hey, Goat Week is the week in between the championship weekend and Super Bowl Sunday.
Not even Goat. I mean, like, we kind of just stumbled into this.
Yeah.
Like Mount Rushmore of football.
Really, Mahomes popping his head in kind of.
Huge deal.
Yeah.
And then Tom Brady, his brand merging with Noble same week, just so happening. It's like, we have an opportunity here.
Yes.
We have a real opportunity here. And I want to let you know we're going to pound the pavement and try to make it happen for tomorrow, especially with the Niners in the big one.
Yeah.
It'll be a perfect tie-in. We're incredibly lucky to be doing this. We're incredibly thankful to be doing this. We appreciate you all watching every single day. And we'll continue to try to make it a half-assed, decent show every single day, as long as you'll have us. You're the greatest. Chuck, great work today.
Great work, Chuck.
Happy birthday, Nick.
Happy birthday, Nick.
Hey, thank you guys. I appreciate the hell out of all of you. It's an honor.
Got you a Neuralink.
Ooh.
Congrats.
Okay.
Can't wait.
That's really nice of me, I think. Nobody's really talking about it. But got you a Neuralink.
I think it's very nice.
Thank you. They're drilling in your head today.
Okay.
So I got a guy coming in to drill a Neuralink into your brain.
Mitt's doing it.
They did send an instruction manual for Mitt to do it.
Yep.
Dr.
It's like
McMahon.
IKEA.
Could you imagine Mitt ever holding a power tool?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you grow up on a ranch?
Yeah. I'm in Montana.
What's one of those things cost?
I don't know. I'm not sure the price of it.
Yeah, I don't know if they have a price.
I think it's like $37.
The Apple virtual reality thing, they're going $39.99, $3,999.
That was kind of sweet. That was kind of sweet.
Dollars?
What do you do with it though? The glasses deal?
Yeah, it just seems like you just live your life. But
Can you play games with it? I was like, I thought you could play. There'd be Oculus games on as well, but it looks like I don't know.
Yeah, they're like you can text on here, you can search your websites on here.
Oh, I already have a computer. Thanks.
You can have instructions for stuff pop up on the side while you're cooking.
So dumb.
And it's like, well, my phone has all that, and I don't have to wear
or spend
a thing. They're like, but you could see your kids with it on still.
Could do that.
Like, well, I could see my daughter without it.
That wouldn't be weird for my kids.
Yeah, I think they were just kind of planning on everybody wearing them. I think that's seemingly the commercial that I watched. I don't know if you've seen anything different.
I have. No, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. I don't think they have any of the stuff that people actually want to do on there yet. And it's Apple, so they're still like, well, we got to charge people $4,000 for it. So they'll come around eventually.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Chuck will go boxing an Apple one soon.
At some point.
How was that, though? That was pretty cool in there.
Yeah.
Great workout.
Yeah. Unbelievable workout.
But I wouldn't want to wear that. And they're saying the Apple one pretty... The Today Show, Lester Holt on the Nightly News, they had a segment about it with a technology expert lady, and she said, reviews are in, a little heavy, a little clunky. On the thing, it's like, that's the worst thing you want to hear.
Right.
But very user-friendly and all this other stuff that they were saying. I'm like, I just don't know how many people are paying $4,000 to wear glasses in their house to do something that they can do on their phone already. Yeah, but you don't need your phone. You can just use your eyes and your hands. It's like, well, I'm using my eyes and my fingers with my phone. Yeah, but you don't have to hold anything. But my face has to hold something.
Oh, shit. Good point.
Oh, yeah, but your hand's free.
It's easier.
Oh, but I'm still using. All right, I'm not smart enough.
We'll figure it out.
I just don't think I'm smart enough. But also, I'm an Oculus.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I'm an Oculus guy.
Mm-hmm.
They just want me in there for an hour.
T-Mock.
Play a little ping pong. Fight some guys.
Work out.
Do my thing.
The Oculus is like that now, though, I feel like. Isn't it where you can still see your surroundings?
Yeah, I'm boxing in the Thunderdome.
Yeah.
I'm playing ping pong in the Thunderdome against somebody from Germany who's beating the hell out of me, by the way. I got to get back in there.
Good player.
Yeah, I got hustled. I got ran off the table by a couple people in that Oculus. That was not delightful. That was not all. But we'll get better.
Hell yeah.
Which is what we're going to do with this program. Hopefully.
Always.
You're all the best. We'll see you tomorrow for a Feel Good Friday and hopefully some a couple monster guests, you know?
Yeah.
Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change your life. We're in this thing together. Team on me. Team on three. 1, 2, 3.
Team.
Goodbye.